Chapter 1255, Doting Wife. 5th Miss Miracle Doctor Chapter. Soul Control Technique Category. Wuxia Cultivation Author. Fan Elderwood. Book Title. Soul Control Technique? Sima Yue blinked. It sounds like a very powerful netherworld skill. Please search for the most complete version, the fastest update. Of course, it's very powerful. This is one of the top netherworld skills in the world of spirits and souls. How about it? Do you want to learn it? As long as you call me master, I'll teach it to you. Mou tempted her. Sima Yue had never learned netherworld skills before. Even when she was with her cousin, she had never thought of learning it. Now that she suddenly heard him say that, her heart itched. She wanted to try out the netherworld skill. However, if she had to call him master, then she would rather not learn it. I can't use my spiritual power now. How can I learn it? You'll probably be gone by the time I recover my spiritual power. How about this? You write down the method of this netherworld skill for me. When I recover my spiritual power, I'll learn it according to this method. How about that? Not much. My netherworld technique can only be passed down orally and cannot be recorded in books. Mou said, "What's more, I've checked your body. Although your rare light demon body makes things difficult for you, it's not without its benefits. For example, right now, your spiritual power is sealed and you can't use it. You can use your dark spiritual power. It'll work." That works? Sima Yue's eyes widened. She had never thought of this problem. You've been sealing your dark power because you thought that your body wouldn't be able to bear it. So after your spiritual power was sealed, you never thought of releasing your dark power. Naturally, you never thought of this method, Mou said. Sima Yue agreed with his statement. She had never thought of this point, so she had never thought of releasing the power of darkness. She was a little tempted by Mou's words. Days without spiritual power were really boring. However, at the same time, she was a little worried. If she released her dark power, would something unexpected happen? For example, her body wouldn't be able to bear it. She voiced out her worries. Mou chuckled and said, "Previously, you were afraid that you wouldn't be able to bear it because of the conflict between the two powers. However, the situation is different now. Your light power is as good as nothing, so naturally, there won't be any conflict. Is that so? Then I'll go back and try." Sima Yue chuckled. "Even so, it's impossible for me to call you master. You don't have to come to a conclusion now. When you understand the power of the soul carving technique, you'll naturally want to learn from me," Mou said confidently. "If you're willing to call me master during the tea ceremony, then I don't mind calling you master," Sima Yue said. "After all, we're talking about tea first." "Let's hear it first. Call her master? How could that be? Do you know how many people in the ghost realm want to be my disciple? I'm giving you this chance now, but you don't want it. Then do you know how many people in the mortal world want to be my disciple? I'm giving you this chance now, but you don't want it either, do you?" Sima Yue retorted. What a sharp-tongued girl. "All right, let's get down to business first. You can also show off your soul carving technique. Maybe it's so powerful that I'm attracted to it," she urged. "Then watch carefully. This soul carving technique is not only effective on the soul and the body, but also on all the souls in the world," Mou said. "Isn't it comparable to the soul carving technique?" Sima Yue asked in surprise. The soul carving technique here was not referring to her training of her soul, but a method of refining souls of the Ghost Clan. "You know about the soul carving technique?" I mentioned it to the Ghost Clan when I was in the immortal realm," Sima Yue explained casually. "Is your soul carving technique the same as the soul carving technique?" "Of course it's different," Mou denied. "My soul carving technique is mainly used to control their souls, allowing them to be used by me while their divine senses are awake. This is a more legitimate netherworld technique. But the soul carving technique is different." "What's the difference?" "The biggest difference between the soul carving technique and the soul carving technique is that the soul carving technique will keep the soul awake, while the soul carving technique will completely erase the divine senses of the soul, turning them into a walking corpse," Mou explained. "Aren't they both used to control souls? For those souls, it's a loss of freedom." "There's no difference," Sima Yue said. "Of course it's different. Once the soul carving technique stops, those souls will regain their freedom. But souls that have been refined by the soul carving technique won't work, Mo Yu retorted. But you've already started to control those souls. Those who practice the soul carving technique, even if they're like you, won't let them go easily. Sima Yue guessed. If that's the case, what's the difference between having it and not having it? You don't understand. Do you know what's the most abundant in the ghost realm? It's not the ghost clan, but soul bodies. And Mo Yu said, if you learn this, it'll be equivalent to having a lot more power in the ghost realm in the future. Even without this, I have a way to deal with those souls. Sima Yue snorted. The 100-ghost streamer in her hand was the greatest nemesis to those ghosts. Whether they were captured by the soul-carving technique or refined by the soul-carving technique, as long as they encountered the 100-ghost streamer, they would have to surrender obediently. Of course, this was something she could not let him know. What can you do? Mo Yu did not want to believe her. You'd better learn the soul-carving technique from me. Watch carefully. He came to the front of those corpses and waved his hand. His body emitted a ripple, as if the power that had previously bound the souls had disappeared. Sima Yue could see a faint shadow slowly emerging. Just as it was about to head to the ghost realm, Mo Yu formed a seal with both hands, and those souls froze in place. How is it? He asked her. Not bad. There is a rule that souls go to the ghost realm after death, and you can actually make the souls resist this rule. It shows that you are indeed powerful, Sima Yue said. But this is not helpful for us to investigate this matter, is it? The newly formed soul body did not have much power, and those few souls still looked very ignorant, not knowing that they were already a soul. You're not thinking of interrogating their souls, are you? Sima Yue asked. I once heard that after people go to the ghost realm, they will not remember what happened before their death. It is equivalent to starting over from the beginning. Even if you capture their souls, you will not be able to get anything out of them, because they will not know what happened in the past. Who said I want to ask? If you don't ask, how are you going to get the information we want? Just wait and see. In your words, the time to witness a miracle is coming. Your arrival is the greatest support for us. If you like it, please introduce more friends to us. Chapter 1256. The rainbow-colored dendrobium in his hand was gone, and the pain from his wrist made him very angry. You lowly commoner, do you know who I am? I am the alchemist under Venerable Su, Hua Kai. How dare you hurt me? Do you want to be arrested? The alchemist under Venerable Su? Don't joke around. How could there be someone like you under her? Sima Yue shook her head, not believing his words. You're just a lowly commoner. How would you know about Venerable Su? If you don't want to be arrested, then obediently hand over the rainbow-colored dendrobium, then kneel on the ground and kowtow to me 3 times. Call me grandfather, then I will let you go. Hua Kai raised his chin, looking like he was giving alms. What if I don't? Sima Yue sneered. Then I can only arrest you on the charge of looking down on Venerable Su. When the time comes, you will become slaves and never see the light of day. Hua Kai threatened her. The shop assistant kindly reminded her, Master Hua is indeed the alchemist under Venerable Su. Why don't you give the rainbow-colored dendrobium to him? Oomph. Hua Kai raised his arrogant chin and turned his head to the side, waiting for her to give him the rainbow-colored dendrobium and then kneeled down to apologize. But after waiting for a while, he did not see any movement from her. He turned his head and saw that she had no intention of apologizing at all. She was taking out the herbs from the tray, placing them on the counter, and asking someone to settle the bill for her. He could not tolerate this anymore. He was really angry. He walked to the stairs and called the guards downstairs, wanting to arrest them. At the same time, he threatened, Let me tell you, if I don't agree, they won't dare to sell the herbs to you. The shop assistant took the herbs and indeed had no intention of settling the bill. What right do you have? Sima Yue's face darkened. After meeting such a person, she lost all her mood. Just because of my identity and your lowly commoner status. Since you are here, you should be aware that lowly commoners have no right. Hua Kai looked at her change of expression with satisfaction. These people looked down on Venerable Su and spoke rudely. Arrest them. When the guards who had just arrived heard that these people were looking down on Venerable Su, they didn't ask anything and immediately came to arrest them. Wu Lingyu would not allow anyone to touch Sima Yue. He moved as soon as they moved. Before those people could get close to her, they all fell to the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't even see how he moved. They only felt that he disappeared for a while. How did everyone fall down? When the shop assistant saw this, he moved his lips, but he felt something stuck in his throat, and he couldn't say anything. Do you still want to buy it? Wu Lingyu looked at her and asked. Yes, why not? Sima Yue calculated the total price according to the price she saw before. She took the crystal and put it on the counter. Then, she put away the herbs and left. Only after they left did the crowd react. The guests left one after another to avoid being implicated. The shop assistant didn't dare to leave. The shopkeeper personally came to apologize. He said a lot of things and gave a shop assistant a lot of things before the shop assistant left. It was tiring to meet someone who wasn't afraid of death. If a few more came, they would go bankrupt. What's the background of those people? They don't even put Venerable Su in their eyes? The shop assistant was puzzled. He saw clearly just now that these people didn't have the slightest fear when they heard Venerable Su, nor did they submit. They really didn't put Hua Kai and Venerable Su in their eyes. What kind of background and strength did they have to be able to look down on everything like this? No matter what background they have, they're not people we can afford to offend. The shopkeeper said, these people didn't look like ordinary people. If they met them in other places, they would treat it as a good show. However, when they met them, they could only feel stifled. Shopkeeper, Master Hua won't come looking for trouble with us, right? The shop assistant asked. No, we're Venerable Nyo's shop. Although the accident happened in our shop, we've apologized. The two venerables don't interfere with each other's business. If they want to cause trouble, they have to think twice. The shopkeeper said, send someone to investigate the background of these people. Yes, he still had to find a chance to get back today's losses. Sima Yue wasn't in the mood to shop anymore. She walked around for a while and went back. Soon, Venerable Su's people caught up and surrounded the entire inn. These people came so quickly. Fushi curled his lips. I wanted to go out and check on Silmer's situation, but I didn't expect to attract Su Wu's people. Sima Yue sighed. Then let's fight back. Wu Lingyu said, it's a waste of energy. Sima Yue didn't want to fight. They've already come knocking on our door. It's not up to you to decide. Fushi said, that's true. Then let's fight all of them away. Sima Yue sighed. In the end, it was Wu Lingyu who attacked. Dozens of guards were all sent flying, attracting the attention of the entire Minghai city. Previously, only a few people had seen what had happened. Now, everyone knew that there was an audacious person living here. They actually dared to send all of Su Wu's people flying. These people didn't want to live anymore. When Di Giorgio heard the news, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. This little ancestor, if you want to save someone, you have to keep a low profile. Now that you're so high profile, they'll be on guard. But what could he say? He couldn't say anything. He could only lead his men to protect the inn. No one was allowed to come close. Sima Yue was very satisfied with Di Giorgio's actions. Since they were already high profile, then they should be even more high profile. She changed her plan of secretly saving someone and prepared to go directly to their door to ask for Silmer. Di Giorgio was a little surprised when he heard her idea, but he quickly accepted it. He even gave her advice. This Silmer likes delicious food. If little princess can impress him with delicious food, it's not impossible to ask him for Silmer. It seems that foodies are everywhere. Sima Yue sighed. Moreover, Silmer and Su Wu's relationship is very bad. Now that you're on bad terms with Su Wu, you can also get some points from Silmer. We can't be sure about the relationship between these old guys, but I can consider eating, Sima Yue said. It's said that he often goes to the time in the north of the city to eat. The food there is the best there. Is there a pattern? No, he goes there whenever he wants. Usually, there's a fixed interval. Then we can only wait here. When she said that, she didn't mean that she would wait in the inn. Instead, she would ask someone to wait outside Silmer's room. Once he went to the time, she would go with him. Then, she would find a way to talk to him and get closer to him. This was the first time she used food to seduce someone. She was very confident in her culinary skills. She just didn't know if the people in the abyss of hell were as easy to seduce as other people. Chapter 12:57. Read 336. Just as Sima Yue was about to go crazy, the sound from the sound stone finally disappeared. This guild leader is really something. It's been so many years, and you're still not serious. Puffed. Xiao Hong laughed even harder when she saw Sima Yue's reaction. She couldn't stop laughing while holding her stomach. Yue, I've seen the president of the Alchemist Guild before, but I didn't expect him to be so funny. The way he talks to you, haha. All right, stop laughing, Sima Yue said weakly. Do you know about the alliance that the president mentioned? I know. Moreover, I plan to follow my father to take a look. Xiao Hong said. Since her identity was already known to everyone, she might as well stop pretending and openly admit her identity as the guild's young miss. You're going too? Yeah. Xiao Hong nodded. That dark force has provoked the major guilds time and time again. We have our temper too. Moreover, we are not to be trifled with. This time, the trade unions have decided to retaliate, so they have decided to join forces and find out who is behind this. This was clearly her father's succession ceremony, but these people had messed it up. In addition, the previous president had been very good to her and had watched her grow up. However, he had been killed by those people. Now, she hated those people to the core. Of course, she would participate in such an event. Since those people dared to touch her guilds, I think they have the guts to do so, Sima Yue said, and I think they also guessed that you would join forces to deal with them. To be able to make a move against you in such a situation, I think the other party's strength must not be simple. My father said the same thing, Xiao Hong said, but no matter who they are, even if they are from the hidden families, we will not let them off. Yes, if you find out, you can call us if you need help. Although my Heartbreak Valley was established not long ago, we can still provide manpower to make up the numbers. Sima Yue said, what do you mean by contributing manpower? Do you think I don't know about Heartbreak Valley? All of you are brave and good at fighting. If you really need people, your people's battle power is definitely enough to fight against 10 people. Xiao Hong smiled. Since President Xia invited you, why don't you come with us to Red Tinted City? Me? Sima Yue thought of Xia Chong Tian and quickly shook her head. No, I still have to go back to Heartbreak Valley. I heard that the Sage Pavilion and Wu's people, they're waiting for you to go out and kill you to kill them to kill you. Xiao Hong said to say, once you leave the Armament City, they won't give us any face. If you can come with us and see that my father and the others are here, they might restrain themselves a little. It's okay. They want to kill me, but I want to kill them too, Sima Yue said. Since she was now able to use dark spiritual energy, this little realm would naturally be able to be opened. There were hundreds of thousands of Blood Fiend cities, citizens inside, and all of them were fugitives. Would they still be afraid of the Sage Pavilion and the Wu clan? At this moment, Baixing opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he swallowed it back. However, Sima Yue noticed him. Xiao Hong still wanted Sima Yue to go with them, but Sima Yue looked at Baixing and said she would think about it. Then she went back. After Xiao Hong left, Sima Yue looked at Baixing and asked, Old Bai, what did you want to say just now? If it's possible, we can go to the Eastern Ridge to take a look. Baixing said, what happened? Is it about Luliang Kai? Sima Yue asked. With Baixing's character, if nothing happened, he wouldn't say something like that. Baixing nodded. A few days ago, I received news from the valley that something happened at the Eastern Ridge. The people we sent were all missing. Oh, that's weird. Sima Yue frowned. Heartbreak Valley's people were more powerful. Although they weren't invincible, it wasn't to the extent that there was no news at all. What's the valley's decision? Sima Yue asked. Valley Lord has already brought Feng Ji and the others over. Baixing said, originally, Valley Lord told me that you don't have spirit energy, so I can't tell you about this. But now that you can use dark spirit energy, I think we can go and take a look. Also, Fair Eastern City where Liang Kai and the others went missing is not far from Red Tinted City. Sima Yue hesitated. If something really happened in Fair Eastern City, it might affect the guild. Although she said she didn't want to see Xia Chang Tian, that shameless old man, she still had feelings for the Alchemist Guild. Why would the Guild Alliance go to the Eastern Ridge? Sima Yue asked. Maybe it's because the Array Master Guild and Spirit Master Guild are in the Eastern Ridge. Bai Shang said, but we don't know the exact reason. Maybe it's related to Fair Eastern City. That's possible too. While discussing about the Alliance, they're also dealing with Fair Eastern City. Also, I think the possibility is higher. Otherwise, they wouldn't choose such a nearby city. Sima Yue guessed. It was also because she had been learning dark skills from MOU for the past 2 months and didn't care about the outside world. That was why she didn't know about this. Outside, this matter was already known by everyone in the continent. And should we go? Fatty Chu asked. Since our people are also missing there, we naturally have to go and take a look. Sima Yue said. Do we go with the Armament Masters Guild? Sima Yue thought about it and shook her head. If they went with the Armament Masters Guild, wouldn't they meet Xia Chang Tian and the others directly? We'll go by ourselves. Also, before we go, we have to settle something. Sima Yue said. What is it? Everyone looked at her. Of course it's to collect some interest for old Bai. Sima Yue said, aren't those people waiting for us to go out? Then let's go and meet them. Bai Shang was stunned. He didn't think that she still remembered his matters. And the first thing she did after she recovered her powers was for him. All right, then we'll pack up and leave. Let's leave tomorrow. I have to talk to Xiao Hong and Uncle He. All right. Xiao Hong and He Qindong knew that they were leaving the next day and were very surprised. They wanted her to go with them. Seeing that she insisted, they could only let her be. But when they asked someone to send her back, she rejected them. The Armament Masters Guild was so busy, she didn't want to trouble them. More importantly, with outsiders present, how were they going to deal with the Sage Pavilion and Wu clan? So, after saying goodbye, the next morning, she brought them to the teleportation array and went to the city outside. When they appeared in the city, the Sage Pavilion and Wu clan immediately received the news. Chapter 1258. You have so many tea leaves. You have so many tea leaves. MOU could not quite accept the mountain of tea leaves in his spatial ring. Who was the one who told him to drink less? I only have so many tea leaves. Sima Yue rubbed her nose and said a little embarrassedly, I naturally have less tea leaves for people I don't have a good relationship with, but I have more tea leaves for friends. MOU could not help but laugh. This last was still so calculative. But since she was like this, it meant that she had accepted him. Sima Yue did not explain much. She took out a stone rubbing and placed it on her forehead. After a while, she took it off and said, all the knowledge I know about tea has been rubbed inside. These are all theoretical. You have to brew the tea yourself. This much tea leaves should be enough for you to drink for decades. All right. MOU took the stone rubbing and placed it on his forehead. All the knowledge drilled into his brain. When are you leaving? Sima Yue asked. I will leave after I send you back. MOU said. The Jun family sent news that the Sage Pavilion and the Wu family did not leave. They are waiting for you in the city outside. I can't send you back. Are you all right with that? No problem. Sima Yue said. Then let's go back. In order to not cause too much commotion in Weapon Refining City, MOU had been bringing her outside the city for the past 2 months. Then he would bring her back. With his strength, it was a piece of cake for him to not be discovered by the people in the city. MOU sent her back to the small courtyard. Coincidentally, everyone was chatting in the courtyard. When they saw them return, they all stood up. MOU put Sima Yue down and said, if there's anything, go to the Jun family for help. I understand. Although I don't know why you have to go back personally, and I know that you're very powerful, I still have to remind you to be careful. Sima Yue said, if there's any good tea, I will help you keep it. When the time comes, you can just send someone to get it from me. I will remember that. I will definitely get it from you. MOU said, I will wait for you in the ghost realm. All right. This time, MOU did not open a spatial passage. Instead, he directly tore the space apart and flew in. This method was similar to when Wu Lingyu left the immortal realm. After MOU left, Sima Yue walked towards the pavilion where they were sitting. Yue, Has you returned to the ghost realm? Fatty Chu asked. Yes. Perhaps it was because of the separation, but her mood was not very high. We separated so that we can meet again next time. Bei Gongtang comforted her. Yes, I know. I just felt a little sad for a while, Sima Yue said. By the way, Xiao Hong came to look for you twice in the past 2 days. She heard that you were in seclusion and said that you will inform her when you come out, Wei Ziki said. You said that I was in seclusion. Would she believe such an excuse? Sima Yoyue's mouth twitched. Why couldn't these guys think of a better excuse? When Xiao Hong came, only Fatty was there. Fatty said that, so we can only continue talking about this. When Sima Yulin said this, there was a smile at the corner of his eyes. Fatty Chu glared at him and said, when Xiao Hong came, I didn't know how to deal with her at all. When she asked where you were, I just blurted it out. And she didn't say anything? Sima Yue sighed. Fatty's mind hadn't changed much after all these years. He was still the silly boy from before. She seemed to have muttered something at that time, but I didn't really listen. Then she said that she left, so I didn't investigate further, Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue shook her head helplessly. Xiao Hong was probably muttering that she didn't even have spiritual power, so how could she be in seclusion? She took out the mother-child stone and injected spiritual power into it. Soon, Xiao Hong's voice came from the other side. Yue, you're out? Yes, I just came out. They said that you came to find me, and told me to inform you when I come out. Sima Yue could tell from Xiao Hong's tone that she obviously didn't believe that she was in seclusion. Then I'll come and find you in a while. Xiao Hong cut off the connection after saying that. Sima Yue heard that her voice was a little anxious. After a while, she saw her coming in from outside. Yue. Xiao Hong walked over and only calmed down when she saw Sima Yue. Why are you so flustered? What happened? Sima Yue asked. The other guilds have been attacked by a group of men in black for the past 2 months. Xiao Hong revealed a shocking news the moment she arrived. What's the result? Because we informed them in advance, they made preparations in advance. So those men in black did not gain the upper hand. But because of the hasty preparation, although they withstood the attack, it wasn't as obvious as our victory, Xiao Hong said. After she said that, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. If any of the guilds were to be controlled, it would be a very troublesome problem for the continent. Those guilds sent people to thank us. When they knew that you informed them in advance, they all said that they wanted to thank you, Xiao Hong said. They sent people to thank you, but you were in seclusion. In addition, every guild has their own matters to attend to, so they left behind a thank you gift and went back. Here, these are their thank you gifts. Xiao Hong took out a few space rings. Sima Yue took a look and was overjoyed. There were really a lot of good things inside. Perhaps because they knew that she was an all-round genius. In addition to elixirs and spirit equipment, there were also some rare raw materials in the thank you gifts. There was also a sound stone left by Xia Changtian among the thank you gifts. Sima Yue passed the sound stone to Beigong Tang and asked her to input her spiritual energy. Although she could use dark spiritual energy now, she didn't want Xiao Hong to know, so she could only find someone else to do it for her. Yue, you heartless person. You left for so long and didn't even come back to see us. Have you forgotten about us? The moment Xia Changtian complained like a little wife, everyone in the courtyard burst into laughter. Yue, is this really the president of the Alchemist Guild? Sima Yoyue's mouth twitched. She really wanted to say that she didn't know him. However, if you didn't send the news back in advance, we would have been tricked by that group of people again. So, Yue, you still have a guild in your heart. The others couldn't stop laughing. Sima Yue face-bombed, speechless. All right, don't look so helpless. Xia Changtian seemed to see her helpless look and said, I came to find you this time because I have something important to tell you. Sima Yue heard that his tone had changed and thought that he really had something important to tell her. In the end, what he said next completely made her kneel down. After this incident, a few guilds are very angry. If we don't show our might, they will really think that we are sick cats. So we decided to join forces and fight back. After some discussion, a few guilds decided to form an alliance and discuss things in Dongling, Hongqiu City. All right, the important matter that I want to talk about is that I will personally go over. If you miss me, you can come and find me. Chapter 1259. Although they didn't know how Sima Yue did it, they knew that it was impossible for them to leave unless they killed their way out. However, could they kill their way out? The answer was that it was impossible. With more than 100 people fighting against more than 1,000 people, and with their strength being lower by a level, how could they survive? Thinking of this, many people's popularity dropped by a notch. Their overall momentum was gone, and many people even went limp. Sima Yue, do you really want to shed all pretense of cordiality with the Sage Pavilion? Nalanland's master asked in a low voice. Buffed. Sima Yue burst out laughing and looked at her as if she was looking at an idiot, saying, Granny, you're already so old. How can you say such childish things? What do you mean by falling out with the Sage Pavilion? When you attacked my people in Weapon Forging City, we already had a falling out, didn't we? Aren't you ashamed to say this now? That's right, haha. The others laughed in agreement. These people's thoughts were too funny. Besides, if it weren't for the fact that there were only a few of us here today, I don't think you would have said something like that, would you? Maybe we're already a few dried corpses, Sima Yue continued. Could it be that we're getting thicker as we get older? Isn't that so? Bei Gong Tang said. It's still better for us to be a little younger, right, Yu? Enough, you two. Nalan Lan berated the two of them. Sima Yue, Bei Gong Tang. Your mouths are still so venomous even after so many years. Looks like you've been cultivating your mouths all these years. Nalan Lan, we haven't seen each other for so many years, but you haven't changed at all. Bei Gong Tang mocked. Lan'er, you know them? Reporting to Master, they came from the same place as me. We have had enmity since we were young. Nalan Lan said. Yes, there is indeed a grudge. Sima Yue said, ever since the Dongchun Kingdom, you've tried to kill me time and time again. Unfortunately, you've never succeeded. Let's settle all our old scores today. Leave Nalan Lan to me. You can handle the others. Yes, boss. The people of Bloodfiend City still remember that night. They still remember the things that happened to her at that time. They still like to call her boss, even if she was much younger than them and her level was much lower than theirs. Humph, I'm going to kill you today too. Nalan Lan glared at Sima Yue, her eyes filled with killing intent. Then let's see who kills who today. Sima Yue sneered, turned around, and ran towards the back. Nalan Lan chased after them, and the people from Bloodfiend City didn't stop her, allowing her to smoothly pass through the encirclement. Since Yue wanted to deal with her personally, they would not interfere. This Nalan Lan would definitely not be able to escape today. Sima Yue continued to fly. She did not need to care about what happened behind her. She just needed to get rid of Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan chased after her until she was dozens of kilometers away. When she saw her stop, she flew over. Once she got close to Sima Yue, she felt that the space around her was different. What did you do? She looked at Sima Yue, guessing if she did something to the space. You've been in the Sage Pavilion for so many years. Have you ever heard of territory? Sima Yue floated in the air with a smile on her face. Her long skirt was flying, but other than where she was, there was no wind at all. Nalan Lan had gained quite a bit of knowledge in the Sage Pavilion over the years. She knew that people above the Paragon rank could comprehend a spirit realm, but she didn't expect that someone who was 2 years younger than her could comprehend a spirit realm. No, she didn't believe it. Even if there was a person with heaven-defying talent in this world, it wouldn't be her. I comprehended this territory when I was in Qing Yi's body. I heard that you comprehended Dao when you were in his body. It's a pity that my senior sister stole your most important heart. Sima Yue said something that made her vomit blood. That woman is your senior sister. Nalan Lan clenched her fist. Why did it turn out like this? Sima Yue suppressed her in every way. Even the Dao that she comprehended with great difficulty was stolen by her senior sister. Was Sima Yue really sent by the heavens to subdue her? No, she couldn't bear to let Sima Yue continue living in this world. When she saw Sima Yue, her heart felt worse than being bitten by thousands of ants. Yes, my senior sister said that she got your Dao for nothing. She was really embarrassed. She said that when I see you, I must thank you properly. Sima Yue said gratefully, but I think that you won't accept her thanks. I'm going to kill you. Nalan Lan was provoked by her words. She condensed her spirit energy and attacked Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at her spirit energy ball and wasn't anxious at all. When the spirit energy ball came close, she waved her hand, and a black barrier blocked the spirit energy outside. Nalan Lan saw the black barrier and exclaimed, "Dark spirit energy! You're a dark spirit master." Sima Yue waved her hand, and the barrier disappeared. She looked at the shocked Nalan Lan and said, "Actually, I don't even need to use my domain to deal with you. Do you know why I included you in my domain from the start?" Nalan Lan's heart sank. Was there a need to ask? Of course, it was to ensure that she would die here. You tried to kill me so many times. Every time I wanted to kill you, you would escape. Today, it's either you die or I die. Sima Yue said, "But I think you don't have to say the last sentence. Today will be the day you die. That's not up to you to decide. Maybe you don't know, but my physique counters dark spirit energy. When you meet me, your spirit energy is basically useless. You're right. Today, it's either you die or I die. But the one who dies is you," Nalan Lan said confidently. If she was worried when she heard Sima Yue say that she was in her domain, now that she saw her using dark spirit energy, she was relieved. "I knew that dark spirit energy would be countered by your physique. So, I didn't plan to use my spirit energy to deal with you," Sima Yue said nonchalantly. "I found out that you're injured and can't use your spirit energy. Although your dark spirit energy surprised me, you can't use any other spirit energy. What can you do to me?" Nalan Lan said proudly. "You're just like your master. Your brain structure is different from others." Sima Yue said, "Who said that I lured you here to fight you alone? Babies come out." When she finished speaking, all of Sima Yue's contracted beasts appeared beside her. "Nalan Lan, today I'll show you what a group fight is." Chapter 1260. The beasties hated this Nalan Lan to the core. Ever since the Dongchan Kingdom, she had plotted against Sima Yue a few times. However, she managed to escape every single time. Please search pin in bookyen.com to see the most complete. Update the fastest. It had to be said that Nalan Lan's luck was extremely good every time. She was always able to escape from Sima Yue. This time, she was here again. Sima Yue did not intend to let her go. In order to prevent her from using any unknown methods to escape, Sima Yue activated her domain. Unless she could break through the domain, it would be impossible for her to escape. However, even if she had many ways to escape, it was impossible for her to break through the domain. Therefore, Sima Yue was at ease as she watched her beasts teach her a lesson. The beasts had a lot of resentment towards Nalan Lan. This time, they could finally deal with her. They must treat her well. Therefore, they beat her up for half an hour, even though they could have finished her in one move. However, Nalan Lan also had a lot of treasures on her. After beating her for half an hour, although she was half crippled, she didn't die. She just lay on the ground and didn't move. This lotus body is really resistant to beatings. He's still alive after being beaten for so long. Even my claws are hurting. His skin is really thick. Little Roar shook his claws as if he was really in pain. "Yes, it's true that I'm a little weak. Why don't we use more strength?" Ye Guang suggested. Although he had turned into a man, his arms were wrapped in a layer of iron, which showed how strong he was. "Do you have the nerve to say this now?" The beasties stood beside Nalan Lan and talked nonsense with a serious face. Sima Yue's mouth was twitching. Nalan Lan's entire body was in pain. She had been forced to release all of the Tao characters that she had comprehended. In an instant, she had caught the beasts off guard and sent them flying. "Oh my God, these golden words are so powerful," Little Seven exclaimed exaggeratedly. She patted her chest with a look of lingering fear. Although everyone was shocked, they didn't suffer any injuries. Nalan Lan crawled up from the ground and looked at the frightened spirit beasts. 3 golden words flew around her. Do you really think that I'm a sick cat if I don't show my might? Her face was filled with hatred. None of these beasts would survive after she killed Sima Yue. Golden Word of Enlightenment. TSK, TSK. It looks so powerful. Sima Yue said, although your senior sister stole one of the characters, I still have 3. It's enough to deal with you. Nalan Lan said hatefully, but when she thought of killing Sima Yue, she could not suppress the excitement in her eyes. However, before her smile could widen, it froze completely. This was because she saw 12 golden words flying out of Sima Yue's body. Time is endless. Space is endless. Life is endless. How do you have Tao? She cried out in surprise. That's right. I've also comprehended my own Tao. Sima Yue smiled and said, and I'm sorry to say that the number of golden words I have is 3 times more than yours. Hence, I can still crush you in terms of numbers. Nalan Lan was so angry that she spat out a mouthful of blood. She kept screaming in her heart. Why? Why? Her spirit beasts were lying on the ground. All 3 of them were exhaling more than they were inhaling. However, Sima Yue's spirit beasts were crushing her in terms of numbers and power. Even now, the number of heaven Tao that she had comprehended was still less than hers. Sima Yue controlled the golden words to attack Nalan Lan. The Tao that was comprehended was different in terms of power. The closer it was to the heaven Tao, the stronger it was. It would also have a suppressive effect on other Taos. Hence, the golden words that came out to show off were crushed by Sima Yue's golden words. In the end, they slowly faded and disappeared. Space lock. With a single thought from Sima Yue, Nalan Lan felt as if the space around her had solidified. What did you do to me? Nalan Lan screamed. Sima Yue looked at Nalan Lan. The space slowly closed with her mind. She could even see Nalan Lan's body being squeezed out of shape by the space. Nalan Lan, although I hated you when we were young, we weren't that ugly. If you didn't plot against me and kill me time and time again, even if we weren't friends, we wouldn't have to kill each other. Sima Yue said, but there are no ifs. So today you have to die. Kill me if you want. Even if you kill me, I won't let you go even as a ghost. Nalan Lan said with difficulty. Become a ghost? Sima Yue looked as if she suddenly realized something, saying, You've reminded me. I will definitely make you become a ghost. Then, under Nalan Lan's confused gaze, she took out the 100 Ghost banner. She used her mind and a few ghosts came out. They circled around Nalan Lan before flying back. Did you see that? The 100 Ghost banner will definitely fulfill your wish to become a ghost. Sima Yue said. You. Nalan Lan looked at Sima Yue and was speechless. She only felt that she couldn't swallow the anger in her heart and couldn't let out. You don't have to be so you. You escaped so many times because you were lucky. Do you really think that I can't do anything to you? Everything that you are proud of, everything that you are good at, has been ruthlessly stepped on by me. How is it? Doesn't it feel good? Sima Yue said. Ah! Nalan Lan screamed crazily. Why did she have to have Sima Yue to suppress her when she was so talented? She couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept it. What a strong aura of resentment. I wonder if you will become a ghost after you die. Sima Yue muttered. Then, she glanced at the beasts. Why aren't you moving further away? When the beasts heard her, they immediately retreated and quickly left the safe area. Although your soul will survive, you won't have any memories. Even if I catch you, you won't remember anything about us. So goodbye forever. Sima Yue saw the panic in her eyes and smiled seductively. She said softly, explode. The space where Nalan Lan was had exploded and Nalan Lan's body turned into a rain of blood. A transparent shadow floated in that place. Sima Yue used the 100 Ghost banner to keep her. I said that I would give you a chance to become a ghost, and I gave you this chance. It's a pity that you can only be my slave forever. Sima Yue kept the 100 Ghost banner with satisfaction. Then, she retracted her territory. You are so disgusting. Little Seven looked at the blood on the ground in disgust. Luckily, she was far away. Otherwise, she would have been stained. How am I disgusting? Didn't I remind you to stay away? Sima Yue rolled her eyes. I learned this from Chongming. If you want to say that I am disgusting, you can say that he is. She glanced at the blood on the ground. The grudge that had been entangled with her for decades was finally resolved today. From now on, there would be no woman called Nailin Lan who would come out to annoy her. Chapter 1261. They took care of Nailin Lan, and Heartbreak Valley was done as well. As Sima Yue had sealed the space, none of them managed to escape. When Sima Yue brought the group of beasts back, they had already cleaned up the corpses. Kill, Bei Gong Tang asked. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Bei Gong Tang and the others felt something in their hearts. Nailin Lan could be considered the person they had known the longest on this continent. It was a pity that she was not a friend. Sima Yue recalled all the people from Bloodfiend City, and there were only a few of them left. Oh, bye, let's collect some interest this time. Once we're done here, we'll take revenge on them. Sima Yue said. Bai Sheng's Adam's apple moved, and after a long while, he replied in a low voice, All right, then let's go to Fair Eastern City. Sima Yue was worried that something would happen to Shimin Feng and the others. After dealing with these people, she prepared to rush to the Eastern Ridge. They wouldn't be able to return to the city. Everyone knew that the Sage Pavilion and the Wu clan had chased after them. If they went back and the Sage Pavilion and the Wu clan didn't, what did that mean? In the future, if others found out that they were missing, they could say that they didn't know. Anyway, no one saw them kill anyone, right? Sima Yu and Sima Yulin set up a teleportation array together. When they came out again, they were already 1,000,000 kilometers away from the armament city. They found a spirit beast and asked for the nearest city. Coincidentally, there was a relatively large city nearby. There should be a teleportation array to the Eastern Ridge. The Mo Bay and the Eastern Ridge's Fair Eastern City were billions of kilometers apart. If they were to build their own teleportation array, they would have to spend a lot of resources. Most importantly, it would be tiring and a waste of time. Therefore, they chose to use someone else's teleportation array. After flying for 2 days, he found the city and found the teleportation array. After paying the fee, he hurriedly left. Now that Sima Yue had spiritual power, she did not feel dizzy in the teleportation portal anymore. Hence, they had been on the road for almost half a month. They finally arrived at the Eastern Ridge. They contacted Shimin Feng on the way and learned that the people from Heartbreak Valley had been there for a long time. So, they went to the city they were in. Because Fair Eastern City could not be approached now, the people from outside could only choose to stay in a city that was closer. For example, the Six Rivers City, where Shimin Feng and the others were, and the Red Sleeve City, where the unions had agreed. These were the cities that were relatively close to the Eastern Ping City. Sima Yue and the others walked out of the teleportation array and headed towards Memory Restaurant. Shimin Feng and the people from Heartbreak Valley stayed here. Yue. A hesitant voice came from behind. Sima Yue turned around and saw a familiar face. Why are you here? Behind her were Tobin Tuoba Han, and Feng Wuan. It's really you. When I saw you just now, I thought I was seeing things. When Tuoba heard her say that, she knew that it was her. She ran over excitedly and grabbed her hand. I've always heard that you're actually a woman. Today, I've finally seen you in women's clothing. How beautiful. When the mortal realm opened, the three of them did not go, so they did not see her. Sima Yue nodded towards Tuoba Han and Feng Wuan. Why aren't you in the academy? Why are you here? This is our clan's territory. After what happened in Eastern Ping City, of course we have to come and take a look. Tuoba Han said. Wuhan followed us here. Yue, why are you here too? Tuoba Yenner asked. Some people from our valley went missing in Eastern Ping City, so we came to take a look. Sima Yue said. Then where are you staying? How long have you been here? We just came out from the Spirit Master Guild. We haven't met up with the people from the valley yet. Sima Yue replied. All right, since this is your Tuoba clan's territory, then you should know what's going on, right? This. Tuoba Yin hesitated. It was obvious that the situation was not optimistic. Why, you can't say. Sima Yue saw her like this, and her heart sank. It's not that you can't say, but the situation is a little complicated. It's not suitable to say it here. Let's go somewhere else. Tuoba Han said from behind. Tuobian turned around and glanced at Tuoba Han. Her eyes were filled with astonishment. However, Tuoba Han had his own thoughts and shook his head at Tobianer. Sima Yue immediately understood something and said, "Let's go to Memory Restaurant." Memory Restaurant was a force of Heartbreak Valley. This was well known to everyone. Hearing her suggestion, they all nodded in agreement. The group of people came to Memory Restaurant. When the shopkeeper saw Sima Yue, he immediately bowed and greeted her respectfully, "Vice Valley Lord." Sima Yue nodded and asked, "Is the Valley Lord here?" Yue, Shimin Feng, came out from the backyard. Beside him were Feng Ji and Feng Kai. Their expressions were solemn. It seemed that the news they received was not good. "Boss, these three are?" Feng Kai asked. "Let me introduce them. These are my friends from the academy, Tuoba Yen and Tuoba Han. This is Feng Wuhen. This is our Valley Lord, Shimin Feng, Feng Ji, and Feng Kai." Sima Yue introduced them to each other. "Let's go to the backyard to talk." Memory Restaurant was only a restaurant and did not provide lodging. However, for the people of the valley, there were individual courtyards at the back. They came to the meeting room in the backyard. After a while, the shopkeeper personally served tea. "Shopkeeper Bai, you've been here all this time. You're more familiar with the situation here. Let's listen together." Sima Yue said. "Yes." Baida came to the lowest seat and sat down. Sima Yue looked at Tuoba Han and asked, "Can you tell us what's going on now?" Originally, the family had ordered us not to speak of this matter. However, I think that if I tell you, it might be of help to the current situation. Tuoba Han said. Everyone's heart trembled. It was not a small matter for the Tuoba family to seal the news. What's wrong? Everyone knows that Fair Eastern City is shrouded in a 1,000-kilometer radius of black fog. No one can get close to that black fog. Once someone enters, they have never come out. Tuoba Han said, "Our people sent out a message at the end saying that the devil is here. From then on, they could not be contacted." "The devil is here?" Sima Yue was stunned. "What does that mean? Is it referring to the real devil or the people controlling the situation inside?" "I'm not sure." Tuoba Han said, "The family sent many people in these few months. However, no matter how powerful they were, once they went in, they could not be contacted." "Then those people are all dead?" Feng Kai asked. Tuoba Han shook his head and said no. Their life, Jade, is intact. This means that they're not even injured. However, we can't contact them for some reason. Chapter 1262. They didn't die, but they couldn't contact them, and no one came out. This was rather strange. "Can we identify what kind of chi the black fog is?" Sima Yue asked. "I heard from my clansmen that it's not ghost chi, nor devil chi, but it's also not the chi of the mainland. But if you go near, you will feel a cold air." Tuoba Yen Air said. "Cold air." Everyone looked at each other. Black fog with cold air? There was no ghost chi, no devil chi. It sounded strange. Could it be the ancient tomb chi? Sima Yue asked. Ancient tomb? Sima Yue told him about the ancient tomb in the outer regions. It was that time that Jiang Junxian snatched the Sky Splitter Devil Sword. After listening to her description, Tuoba Han shook his head and said, "It shouldn't be like that. If it is, then the black fog should have ancient chi, but it doesn't. Then we can only find out when we personally investigate." "Shopkeeper Bai, do you have any useful news?" Sima Yue asked. Everyone knew that people came and went in restaurants and inns, so they were the most informed. So when they saw Sima Yue asking him, they turned their attention to Bai Ta. "The news we got is about the same. These few months, no one can go near Fair Eastern City." Bai Ta said, "But before this, we heard some other news." "Oh, what is it?" "Before the incident in Fair Eastern City, there were people eating in the restaurant, saying that something strange happened in Fair Eastern City. Maybe it's related to this." Bai Ta said, "What strange thing?" Half a month before the incident in Fair Eastern City, the people from Fair Eastern City said that they were very sleepy and wanted to sleep. How could a cultivator want to sleep? But other than wanting to sleep and feeling tired the next day, they didn't have anything else. So when everyone left, they didn't take it to heart and just treated it as a strange story. Baita said, "It's not normal for cultivators to feel sleepy and want to sleep." Fatty Chu said, "Indeed." Tobahan said, "Shopkeeper Bai, is there any other news? We've looked into it, and this is the only piece of information that is probably related to this incident," Baita said. "You, this phenomenon is very abnormal. We have to go back and report to our family and see if we can find any information from this." Tobahan said, "All right, we will be staying at the East Courtyard for this period of time. If there's anything, you can just look for us there." Tooba Yin Air said, "All right, then we'll take our leave." The three of them got up and left. "I'll send you off." Sima Yue sent them to the door. When she saw them leaving, she suddenly called out to Feng Wuhan. Feng Wuhan stopped and asked, "What's wrong? Has Master ever come back?" Sima Yue asked, "No. However, Master has sent a message saying that the family should take good care of you. However, I heard from the Patriarch that Uncle Feng is doing quite well over there." Feng Wuhan said, "That's good. Thank you." Sima Yue said with a smile, "We're leaving. Goodbye." Sima Yue waited for them to leave before returning to the backyard. Shimin Feng and the rest were discussing about Fair Eastern City. "There's no point in discussing so much now. We'll only know when we go and investigate tomorrow," she said to everyone. "Leave the investigation to us. You haven't recovered your spirit energy yet. If there's any danger," Shimin Feng said worriedly, "although I haven't recovered my other spirit energy, I still have some that I can use now. It's all right." Sima Yue said, "Thinking about the black fog, I'm worried that it's related to the Ghost Clan. If it is, I can sense it earlier. Bei Gong, Ziqi, you guys wait here. Tomorrow, Feng Er, Old Bai, Feng Kai, you two will go with me." Wei Ziqi and the rest understood the importance of this. If they went, they would only drag everyone down. So they didn't have any objections to Sima Yoyue's arrangement. Shimin Feng was worried that she hadn't recovered her strength. However, seeing that Old Bai didn't say anything, it meant that what she said was true. Since she had recovered her strength, it would be better for her to be present. Towards the dark energy, she was indeed more sensitive than the others. After discussing, Baita arranged rooms for everyone. Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng, and the rest stayed in this courtyard. Sima Yue, Bei Gongtang, and the rest of the younger generation stayed in the courtyard beside. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yue, Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng, Feng Ji, and Feng Kai sat on the flying beast and flew towards Fair Eastern City. Because of the uncertainty of the space there, they didn't use the teleportation array. Instead, they chose the safer flying beast. Luckily, Sima Yue and the rest didn't lack flying beasts, so it wasn't a problem for them to travel continuously. After flying for 8 days and 8 nights, they finally arrived outside Fair Eastern City. Looking from afar, Fair Eastern City seemed to be shrouded in a huge black mushroom. With the black fog as a barrier, Sima Yue and the rest couldn't scan in with their divine senses. They couldn't check the situation inside and couldn't see what was inside. The aura of this black fog is indeed lower. Once they got close, even if they had spiritual energy protecting their bodies, they could still feel the bone-piercing cold. But the strange thing was that the surrounding rivers and ponds didn't show any signs of freezing. "We came here once before. In less than a month, the temperature here dropped quite a bit," Feng Kai said. "We can't tell what this black fog is formed from. If we want to go in, I'm afraid it'll be dangerous." Shimin Feng said. Sima Yue laughed and said, "You've all been deceived by this thick fog. Boss, you already know what this is?" Feng Kai asked. "Although I can't confirm the specifics, but it contains ghost chi. I don't know what's used to cover the aura, but I can still feel it," Sima Yue said. "Are you sure?" Shimin Feng asked. "I'm sure," Sima Yue said. "The spiritual energy flowing in my body is from the Ghost Clan, so I'm more sensitive to ghost chi." "So you're saying that the situation here is caused by the Ghost Clan?" "It should be, but we still need to check the situation inside," Sima Yue said. "The people who went and didn't come out. There must be something fishy inside. All the powerhouses didn't dare to send people in rashly. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to come out." Feng Ji and the rest came earlier and knew more about the situation here. Are Liang Kai and the rest in the city? Sima Yue asked. Their life, Jade, is still fine. It means that they're fine, but we can't contact them. Then I'll let the bees in to check the situation. Sima Yue said as she called out a few scarlet bees and let them fly in. But not long after, they lost contact with those scarlet bees. Chapter 1263. Sima Yue's face darkened. The scarlet bees had only entered the black fog for a few minutes, but they had already lost contact with them. It was no wonder that none of the people who had entered could be contacted. When they saw Sima Yue's expression, they could roughly guess what had happened. Sima Yue called a few more scarlet bees in. This time, they were stronger, but they lost contact with them in less than half an hour. Half an hour? They should be close to the city. Sima Yue said, "It seems that the stronger one is the longer one can last in the black fog." Are those scarlet bees still alive? Alive. The queen bee said that the contract was still there, but she couldn't contact them. It was useless to call them. You should be the same as those people, Sima Yue answered. Even your scarlet bees can't find out what's inside. What's the situation inside? Everyone fell silent. If one of them went in and lost all information, who would know what was inside? At this time, the queen bee asked to come out, saying that there was a situation that she was not sure about. Sima Yue called out the scarlet queen bee and asked, "Did you find anything? I can't sense it clearly inside. I'll contact them first." After the scarlet queen bee finished speaking, she closed her eyes and sensed for a moment. Then, she opened her eyes and said, Their souls are being controlled." Her soul is being controlled? Yes. The scarlet queen bee nodded. "My bees were born with a soul bond with me, but when I tried to contact them just now, I felt an obstruction. Their souls should be controlled by someone else. Could it be that the soul control master is here?" Sima Yue guessed. "What's a soul controller?" Mou told me about the soul control master. It's a kind of professional master in the ghost realm. They control other people's souls by manipulating them. They are the more despicable people in the world of spirits and souls, Sima Yue explained. Mou? A friend of mine, a powerful being from the ghost realm. Sima Yue said. What she didn't say was that one of the underworld skills that Mou taught her was the control of souls. If she was willing, she could also become a soul control master. If he's a soul controller, why did he capture so many people? Feng Kai was puzzled. Not only him, but the others were also puzzled. If he really was a soul controller, why didn't he kill these people? Why did he control them instead? When the beasts in the spirit pagoda saw that the scarlet bees had come out, they also requested to come out and take a look at this mysterious black fog. With a thought, Sima Yue summoned all of them. "This is the black fog? It doesn't seem to be anything special." Little Seven said, "This black fog makes me uncomfortable." Little Roar was nestled in Little Dream's embrace as he squirmed uneasily. Xiaoming patted its back and comforted it. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at it. This fellow was obviously taking advantage of the situation to take advantage of her. Will a person's soul really be taken away when they enter this black fog? Thousand Resonance asked. "I don't know if it's hooked or not, but at least its soul is being controlled." The queen bee frowned. "If that's the case, then if we send someone without a soul in, wouldn't they be controlled?" Thousand Resonance suggested. "Soulless people? How can there be a soulless person in this continent?" Feng Ji and the rest did not think much of it, but Sima Yue's eyes lit up. She clapped her hands and exclaimed, "That's right. Why didn't I think of that?" Shimin Feng and the rest saw that she was so excited. Before they could ask her why, a mecha appeared in front of them. Looking at the mecha's steel-like body, everyone held their breaths. This is the legendary Mecha Man? That's right. Sima Yue said, "The mecha doesn't have a soul. If it goes in, it should be able to know what's going on inside. Then let it go in and try. If it's just purely controlling the mecha, we won't be able to listen to its eyes and see what's going on inside. So I need to attach a strand of divine sense to it. This way, no one can disturb it." Sima Yue said, "Protect me." "All right." Sima Yue looked around and sat cross-legged on a big rock. She inserted her divine sense into the mecha's brain and then controlled it to walk into the black fog. She could only control the lowest level of mecha now. This level could not fly, so she could only walk in step by step. Fortunately, it was not slow and its movements were agile. Otherwise, she would be exhausted to death. After the mecha entered the thick fog, she tried to release her divine sense, but it was locked tightly. She could not detect anything more than 100 meters away. Fortunately, the black fog was not always so dense. After about half the distance, the fog gradually thinned and the city could be seen. Suddenly, a melodious flute sound came from the city. Hearing the flute sound, Sima Yue felt as if her divine sense was being pulled. Was this flute sound something that could control a person's soul? Was it not a soul-controlling master? Fortunately, the flute sound lasted for a while and stopped, so she did not feel so uncomfortable. She was only a strand of divine sense now, but the flute sound had already caused her to be in such a state. If she was a person with a soul, she might have really been controlled. However, the flute sound was too far away. The city was at least 500 kilometers away. Whose flute sound could travel so far? It seemed that the flute sound was the main point of her investigation. She continued to walk forward. Because her divine sense was injured, her speed was slower than before. When the mecha reached the city gate, the black fog was almost gone. However, there was still a layer of light above her head, so the light was not good. There were no guards at the city gate, and the city gate was not closed. She walked in carefully and found that there was no one in the city. Where are the people in the city? She walked around the city, but did not see anyone. Didn't they say that everyone was here and did not go out? Could it be that they are flying? Just as she was feeling puzzled, she suddenly heard a series of footsteps. She immediately knew that there were quite a few people coming, but their footsteps were all the same. The sound of footsteps came from the corner of the street. Such strange footsteps suddenly came from the empty city. She subconsciously controlled the mecha to dodge into a nearby room. At the same time, she retracted her divine sense. There was no breathing, no divine sense. If the mecha was placed there, no one would notice anything strange. Ta-ta! The mechanical footsteps came slowly from the street and walked past the room Sima Yue was in. Their arms could no longer move, and their legs did not bend when they walked. It looked very strange. However, Sima Yue could still feel the breath of life from them. It seemed that they were still alive. But where did they come from, and where did they go? There were so many people in the city. Where did they go? Chapter 12:64. Those people walked past her until they turned the corner before she came out of the house. Before she could decide whether to follow them or not, she heard footsteps behind her. She hurried back into the house to hide. The people who came this time made Sima Yoyue's eyes light up, because she actually saw Lu Liangkai and two people from Heartbreak Valley. Moreover, she felt that Lu Liangkai seemed to have inadvertently glanced at her when he passed by. The crowd walked past her, and she came out of the house. After hesitating for a few seconds, she decisively followed. Those people crossed the street and walked in the opposite direction of Sima Yue. Sima Yue followed them all the way to the city gate. When those people left the city, Sima Yue saw something fall from Lu Liangkai's hand. After they left, she went forward to pick it up. It was a leaf with two words written on it. Danger. Was he putting her in danger of telling others? In that case, Lu Liangkai really wasn't being controlled. He was still sending messages to the people who came to save them. At this moment, the flute sounded again. The flute was melodious, but Sima Yue felt an endless chill. Soon after the sound of the flute died away, she saw several people coming stiffly from outside. Unlike the dirty clothes of Lu Liangkai and the others, these people's clothes were very clean. It was obvious that they had just been bewitched. It seems that there's indeed something wrong with that flute sound. Sima Yue thought that Lu Liang must have reminded her, because there was a dangerous person outside the city. However, Sima Yue was still rather curious as to what they were doing outside the city. Thinking that she had a rough idea of the situation in the city, she controlled her mecha and followed the few people who had just been recruited out of the city. Not far from the city, there was a deep pit. Sima Yue walked over and saw many people there. Each of them was holding a shovel and digging something in the pit. Some people would come up while others would go down. This exchange ensured that there would always be people in the pit. She looked around and saw only those who were being controlled. She didn't see anyone else. Fortunately, there was no one else. These people were being controlled, and their brains couldn't think. They didn't have any reaction when they saw a strange person like her. Sima Yue approached the edge of the pit to see what was inside. Just as she ran to the edge and saw the densely packed heads below, she heard a man's voice behind her. A foreign race? Then a force attacked from behind. The force was so strong that Sima Yue didn't even have time to turn around to see who was speaking. The mecha was smashed into a pile of metal. Her divine sense was also destroyed. Woo! Outside the city, Sima Yue's body suddenly swayed. Her face turned pale, and she opened her eyes. Shimin Feng and the others were guarding by her side. Seeing her like this, they all surrounded her. "Sister, how are you?" Shimin Feng went up to support her. Sima Yue, Sima Yue, Sima Yue, Sima. She took out a pill and ate it. Because there was dark spiritual energy in her body now, the pill she ate was different from before. After resting for a while, she felt better. She leaned into Shimin Feng's arms and said, "I saw the situation inside. I also saw Lu Yangkai. How are they? Their lives are not in danger for now." She recounted what she had seen inside. Hearing her narration, everyone and the beasts were stunned. "What's in the pit? Why are there so many people digging inside?" Shimin Feng frowned. If they couldn't figure it out, they wouldn't be able to solve this mystery. Everyone in the city is being controlled to dig that pit. This is too strange. Little Seven exclaimed. "It's really unbelievable." "Qing Yi, do you know what they are doing?" Sima Yue asked. Qing Yi shook his head. This was the first time he heard of such a situation. He also didn't see such a thing in the memories of others. Hence, he didn't have any clues. "This is not a small matter. I feel that with our own strength, we might not be able to solve this mystery. Why don't we tell this news to Tuoba family? They have been guarding this place. Who knows? They might be able to understand the reason." Bai Sheng said. "That works too. Fair Eastern City is under Tuoba family's jurisdiction. They are more familiar with the situation here. Who knows, they might know something that outsiders don't." Feng Kai said. "Valley Lord, what do you think?" Shimin Feng thought for a while and said, "I also feel that we can tell this news to Tuoba family. But the prerequisite is that we need to know what Tuoba family's attitude is. If the other party wasn't sincere, then telling them would be a waste of time." "Boss, what do you think?" Sima Yue's consciousness was destroyed. Even her body was injured. She leaned into Shimin Feng's arms weakly. Seeing them asking her, she said, "Let's do as you say. I feel that it's better for you to say this." Bai Sheng said, "You and Tuoba family are friends. It'll be better if you say it. Wait for me to rest, then we'll go back and look for them." Sima Yue said weakly. "Why, Yue?" A sudden shout made Sima Yue's body stiffen. "Illusion, illusion, it must be an illusion." Sima Yue mumbled with her eyes closed. Yue, didn't you say you weren't coming? Why did you come here again? Is it because you missed me?" Xiaochang Tian ran to Sima Yue's side. He was almost on top of her. Bai Sheng and the rest turned around and saw other people coming out from the array. Other than the people from the Alchemist Guild, there were also other guilds. Even He Chun Dong and Xiao Hong, who had just separated not long ago, were there. "Yue, what's wrong?" Xiaochang Tian saw that Sima Yue's expression wasn't good, so he stopped joking with her. Sima Yue accepted her fate and opened her eyes, saying, "Aren't you guys in Red Tinted City? Why did you guys come here?" After we met at Red Tinted City, we realized that the situation here was rather urgent, so we decided to settle the situation here first before we're going to deal with that whatever organization. So we came over to take a look at the situation here first. Xiaochang Tian said, "Yue, what's wrong with you?" Boss went to check on the information inside just now and injured her divine sense. So she looks listless now. Feng Kai answered on behalf of Sima Yue. "Did you guys find out anything?" An old man asked. "There is indeed some news. but it's not something that can be explained in a few sentences. Sima Yue said, President, I need to rest now. Yeah, all right. You rest and recuperate first. We'll talk about other things later. Xiaochang Tian said, but the situation is rather urgent now. Where would we have the time? A lady said unhappily. What time? Are you and needs to recuperate first? Xiaochang Tian said unhappily to the lady. Chapter 1265. President Xia. This is a matter that concerns all living beings. She's obviously fine and can talk. We're just asking her to talk, not to do anything. Why are you being so pretentious? The woman said unhappily. When she said that, Heartbreak Valley and the beasts were unhappy. Little Seven jumped in front of her and put her hands on her hips. She stared at her and asked, Who are you? Why do you have to make noise here? I'm Yao Mei, an elder of the Array Formation Guild. I'm a proper elder, not an honorary elder. Yao Mei looked at Sima Yue with disdain, obviously looking down on Sima Yue's status. Just looking at her face makes me unhappy. She's just a seductive vixen. Array Master Guild's elder. Little Seven said, Seeing how old you are, I thought you were the guild's president. How dare you? Yao Mei shouted. What she hated the most was people calling her old. Elder Yao, your roaring is making me dizzy. Sigh, this won't do. I'm too dizzy. I need a rest. Guild leader, since you have so many capable people, you should be able to find out what's going on inside. There's no need for us to embarrass ourselves. Sima Yue held her forehead and leaned into Shimin Feng's arms. Fenger, I feel so uncomfortable. Let's go back and rest. All right. At the beginning, Shimin Feng was very angry when he saw Yao Mei's attitude, but seeing Sima Yue's attitude, he felt funny in his heart. However, he did not smile. He carried Sima Yue and stood up to leave. Stop. Seeing that they really won't leave, Yao Mei shouted, Sima Yue, you are also a member of the Alchemist Guild. Now you're also a member of the Alliance. You must tell us everything you know. Fenger. Sima Yue patted Shimin Feng's shoulder and asked him to turn around to face the crowd. Everyone saw her turn around and thought that she was going to tell them the news. President, what did you say when you asked me to join the guild? Sima Yue asked. I said, you can come and take a look at the union at any time. When you're happy, you can do something for the union. When you're not happy, you can also ignore everything. Xiaochang Tian replied. When Sima Yue heard his reply, she smiled and looked at Yao Mei. Elder Yao, did you hear that? I am hurt now, so I'm very unhappy, so I can't think of anything now. Fenger, let's go back. Sima Yue, don't be so ungrateful. Even if you're an honorary elder, you are still a member of the union. If you don't tell us what you know, do you want to become enemies with the entire union alliance? Yao Mei shouted. Sima Yue's face darkened, and she sneered. What a big hat. In that case, what else can I say? She took out a token. This was the token that Xiaochang Tian had begged her to give it to him. She threw the token, and it accurately landed in Xiaochang Tian's hands. Xiaochang Tian took the token and shouted twice. He came to Sima Yue's side and stuffed the token into her hands. Yue, why are you so serious with a crazy woman? You can't throw this token away. Come, calm down and take it back. This token is so scary. If I take it, I will become enemies with the entire Union Alliance if I don't tell you the truth. For my little life, you should take it back. Sima Yue said, feeling wronged. Who said so? You are a member of my union. If I don't say anything, who dares to force you to do anything? Xiaochang Tian glared at her. Yao Mei, you damned old hag. Your hands are reaching too far. You want to meddle with my union's people? Who do you think you are? Xiaochang Tian, this was the first time Yao Mei had been scolded like this in front of so many people. She was so angry that she couldn't speak. Xiaochang Tian, there are so many people here. You should be more careful. A man wearing a black robe said, Feng Ming, this Yao Mei is a member of your union. I just said a few words and you feel bad for her. Yue is someone closer to me than my granddaughter. Yao Mei just put a hat on her and I don't feel bad for her. Xiaochang Tian's angry expression showed that he had a good relationship with Feng Ming. Fang Ming was speechless. How am I biased towards my union's people? I just want you to be careful. There's nothing to be careful about. Xiaochang Tian waved his hand impatiently. Let me tell you, Yu Yue, I'm the union's honorary elder. No one can force her to do anything. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving her face. His words were very serious. A few people from the other unions looked at Yao Mei. To be able to make the playful Xia Chang Tian like this, there was no one else. Sima Yue didn't think that Xia Chang Tian would protect her like this. Her heart felt warm. That's right. Didn't you see that Yue was injured? If you're so powerful, why would you need Yue to give you the news? Go check it yourself. Xiao Hong also helped Sima Yue to vent her anger. Honger, don't be rude. Elder Yao, Honger is still young. Please don't argue with the younger generation. Although He Chundong said this, his tone didn't contain any reprimand. At the same time, these words were a slap to Yao Mei's face. Sima Yue was younger than Xiao Hong. How could you argue with a child like her? Xiaochang Tian glared at the crowd before turning to Sima Yue. Take this token. You've joined my union. How can you leave just like that? If you want to care about these things, then do it. If you don't want to, then forget it. No one dares to force you. Sima Yue didn't say anything about handing it over this time. However, she still didn't say anything, as if she had been wronged. Yao Mei glared at Sima Yue. She wanted to say something, but after being glared at by Fang Ming, she didn't dare to say anything. However, she still hated Sima Yue in her heart. She would jump out from time to make things difficult for her. All right, Yue, you're injured. Go back and recuperate. Xia Chang Tian said. I in no way. I'll go with you. If anything happens, I can protect you. Although Sima Yue was angry at that woman, she didn't want Xia Chang Tian and He Chundong to take the risk. She said weakly, President, I heard that those who go in can't come out. You guys shouldn't go in either. Let those who have the ability check it out. Xiao Hong, you said last time that you had something to tell me. When you're free, go to Memory Restaurant in Six Rivers City to find me. After speaking, she looked at them meaningfully. Then, she got Shimin Feng to take out the temporary array. She opened the array and returned to Six River City. The spatial coordinates weren't clear when they came, so they could use the teleportation array to go back. Sima Yue thought about how Xia Chang Tian and the rest came out of the array. She sighed that this array master union had some skills. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to use arrays. Chapter 1266. Seeing that Sima Yue had left just like that, the people from the various guilds had different expressions. Xiaochang Tian, what do you mean by this? We're clearly here to investigate. Aren't you making everyone's efforts go to waste? Xiang Yang, the president of the Spirit Master Guild, said with a frown. Old Xiang, I didn't mean anything by that. Xiaochang Tian said, although this Yue is our honorary elder, she is not bound by our rules. The entire continent knew that she had a bad temper. You want her to tell you what she found out, but instead of talking nicely, you're acting all high and mighty. How can she possibly cooperate? So now that she's angry, I don't even want my position as an honorary elder anymore. Are you blaming me for not getting any information? What he said was the truth. Everyone could tell that Sima Yue wasn't that resistant in the beginning, but after Yao Mei said that, she was completely enraged and refused to say anything. So this matter really couldn't be blamed on the Alchemist Guild, since they have a way to investigate. We are people who have lived for so many years. Why can't we find out anything? The Beast Tamers Guild's president, Fan Yuan Long, said, easy for you to say. Shui Yonglin, the president of the Seeker Spirit Master Guild, said, we sent so many people here to investigate, but there was no news. We even lost a lot of people. Isn't Yao Mei very powerful? Let her investigate. Xiaochang Tian snorted. Let's go then. I don't believe that we can't find anything with the formation in our hands. Yao Mei said coldly. You said yourself. Xiaochang Tian said, all right, Yao Mei said she wants to go, so let her go. We'll wait outside. Old Xia. Xianyang looked at Xiaochang Tian helplessly. This guy was still so vengeful. I think it's possible. Xiaochang Tian said, we have to send someone in to investigate, right? Since there's someone taking the lead, why shouldn't we do it? Right, oldie? Enchanting didn't say anything, indicating that he agreed with this statement. So be it. If I find anything, Xiaochang Tian, you have to call me Aunt. Yao Mei said. You? It's better if you can come out first. Xiaochang Tian glanced at her, then shifted his gaze elsewhere. Just you wait. Yao Mei, President, the Alchemist Guild is too much of a bully. If I don't go, I'm afraid that I won't be able to raise my head in front of him for the rest of my life. Yao Mei said. Then be careful. Fang Ming knew Yao Mei's personality. Once she made a decision, she would do it no matter what. How about this? Each guild will send 2 people out and form a small team to enter. Fan Yuanlong said. Seeing that Xiaochang Tian was about to say something again, he hurriedly said, Let bygones be bygones. Old Xia, your Alchemist Guild is still a part of the alliance. Xiaochang Tian unhappily glared at Fan Yuanlong. Although he was unhappy, he didn't say anything. Then it's decided. Each guild will send 2 people. Xiang Yang said. In the end, the Alchemist Guild, Blacksmith Guild, Spirit Master Guild, Seeker Spirit Master Guild, Beast Tamer Guild, and Array Master Guild each sent out 2 people to form a team of 12 and walked into the black fog together. Because they knew that they would lose contact with the people who went in, everyone would contact the people inside every few minutes. Even so, they lost contact with everyone in less than half a day. I told you not to go in, but you didn't listen. Now, not only did we not find any news, we lost contact with them again. Xiaochang Tian said. Everyone was silent. No matter how they tried to contact the people inside, there was no response. Fang Ming saw that Xiaochang Tian turned to leave and asked, Where are you going? I'm going to find my family's Yue. Xiaochang Tian said. Since we can't find anything here, why don't we go back and see if her injuries are better? We'll go with you. Enchanting said. What? We're not going back to Red Tinted City. I remember that the news I got before said that the Tuoba clan's patriarch brought people from the clan to Six River City. This has always been under Tuoba's jurisdiction. Maybe we can get some information from them if we ask them. Shui Chonglin said. You want us to find someone from a clan? Not going. Fan Yuanlong pulled a long face and said, You're not going? That's good. Then you can stay here and continue to investigate. Who knows, you might be able to contact the person who went missing. Xiaochang Tian said. Old Fan, this Tuoba clan is in charge of this area after all. They often interact with these cities. Who knows, they might know something. Shui Chonglin said. Who knows, maybe Sima Yue will be willing to tell us what she found. After all, if she didn't take the initiative to tell us what happened before, our guilds might not have been able to get through this crisis. Fang Ming said. The final result of the discussion was that everyone didn't return to Red Tinted City and went directly to Six River City. Red Tinted City was a temporary place to stay anyway. Moving to Six River City now was the same. Old Fang, you do it. Fang Ming came to an empty space and set up a teleportation array in a few moments. This speed, if Sima Yue was here, she would definitely be impressed. On the other side, Sima Yue returned to Memory Restaurant with her injuries. Everyone in Memory Restaurant was nervous until she assured them that she was fine. Only then did they relax. She ate some pills and recuperated for a day. Just as she was about to find Tuoba Han and the others, Baida came in and said that Xiaochang Tian and He Chendong were here. Sima Yue was stunned for a moment before she went out. The moment she went out, she saw Xiaochang Tian coming over to hug her. Yu, I missed you so much after not seeing you for a day. Sima Yue instinctively lowered her body and avoided his embrace. Then she slipped to the side and went behind Shimin Feng. Xiaochang Tian missed and turned around. Seeing Shimin Feng's cold face, he angrily retracted his hands. Yue, are you all right? Xiao Hong walked over and asked Sima Yue. Yeah, I'm fine now. Sima Yue poked her head out from behind Shimin Feng and looked at Xiao Hong and the others. How did you guys get here so quickly? We got here faster than you? Based on my calculations, you guys should be here in 1 or 2 days. Sima Yue said. The people we sent to investigate lost contact after half a day. Then we decided to come here. Xiao Hong said. I already said that you guys can't enter that place. Seems like you guys didn't listen. Sima Yue sighed. Those people are really stubborn. I pity those who went in. Xiaochang Tian said. Don't worry, those people won't die for the time being. Sima Yue said. You know? Of course. Sima Yue said. I saw it with my own eyes. Then hurry up and tell us. Wait for me to come back. I still have things to do now. Sima Yue said. Chapter 1267. Only then did Xiaochang Tian and the rest realize that Sima Yue seemed to be going out. Where are you going? Didn't I discover something in fair Eastern City? Let's ask the Tuoba family and see if we can find anything, Sima Yue said. Tuoba family? Are you going to look for them? Yes, the Tuoba family knows more about this place. Sima Yue said. Seeing Xiaochang Tian and the other's strange expressions, he frowned and asked, What's wrong? Actually, we had a disagreement when we first arrived, Xiaohong said. What differences? President Xia said that he wanted to come and see you. The other presidents said that they wanted to look for the Tuoba family first. Then we came over and they went over there. What did you find? I want to look for them because I didn't find anything. Xiaochang Tian said, Since you're going to look for the Tuoba clan, then we'll go with you. Those people might not have seen them yet. Sima Yue nodded and said, All right, let's go together. She only brought Shimenfeng and Bai Sheng to the Tuoba family, while the rest stayed in Memory Restaurant. When they arrived at the Tuoba family, Sima Yue had just given her name when the guard at the door said extremely respectfully, Miss Yue, the young master has instructed that if you come to find him, you should be brought in directly. Young master? Young master is Tuoba Han. The guard explained, Miss Yue, please. Sima Yue had never asked about Tuoba Han's position in the family. She did not expect him to be the young master of the direct line of descent. The guard led them directly to the reception hall and waited in the courtyard while he went in to report. Soon, Tuoba Han came out and said to Sima Yue, you guys are here. These two must be President He and President Xia, right? Han greets the two presidents. Are you busy? Sima Yue asked. A few guild leaders are currently discussing matters with the clan head. I'm listening from the side. Tuoba Han said, Since you're busy, I'll come back later. Don't. The president and the others know that you're here. They want you to go in and discuss it with them. We're talking about fair Eastern City. Tuoba Han stopped him. All right then. Sima Yue agreed after thinking for a few seconds. Although she didn't have a good impression of those guild leaders in the beginning, this wasn't a small matter. She wouldn't really delay the important matters because of her small displeasure. When everyone arrived at the meeting room, they saw that all the guild leaders were present. The head of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Hongye, stood up and cupped his hands towards Xiaochang Tian and the others, saying, Chairman Xia, Chairman He, Westgate Valley Lord, little friend Yue, please sit. Xiaochang Tian and He Chundong sat next to the union, while Sima Yue, Shimenfeng, Bai Sheng, and Xiaohong sat beside Tuoba Han. Old Xia, didn't you go to see her? Why did you bring her along? Shui Zhonglin asked. When we went there, we bumped into Yue and the others who were looking for the head of the Tuoba family. So we followed them. Xiaochang Tian said, Miss Yue, are you going to talk about the news you found in Fair Eastern City? Fang Ming looked at her expectantly. Why? What did little friend Yue find in Fair Eastern City? Tuoba Hongye looked at Sima Yue and asked curiously. Just now those guild leaders said that they didn't find anything. He didn't expect her to have news. Tuoba family head, President Fang, you can call me Yue. Sima Yue felt that it was awkward to add Miss behind her name. Ha ha ha, all right. Then you can call me Uncle Tuoba. Tuoba Hongye was a straightforward person. But when he said that, Tuoba Han felt awkward. He was a grandfather. If Yue called him uncle, then wouldn't he have to call Yue aunt? This seniority was different. Sima Yue also had a few black lines sliding down her face. Wasn't this too close? Cough cough, Yue. What did you find in Fair Eastern City? Tuoba Han shifted everyone's attention to cover up his awkwardness. That's right, Yue. Now, can you tell us what you found? Xiaochang Tian said. Everyone's gaze shifted to Sima Yue, waiting for her to say it. Tuoba, uncle, I want to ask, Is there anything special about Fair Eastern City compared to other places? Sima Yue asked first. Special? Tuoba Hongye thought for a while and asked, which aspect are you referring to? What attracted the Ghost Clan? Sima Yue asked directly. I felt the aura of the Ghost Clan in Fair Eastern City. What? Tuoba Hongye's expression changed. Is what you said true? Everyone saw his huge reaction and knew that there was something that others didn't know. What, this Fair Eastern City really has something to do with the Ghost Clan? Dong asked. Tuoba Hongye reacted and hesitated. Tuoba family's great elders said, Family head, since it's already like this, what's there to hide? Only by saying it can we solve this problem. Otherwise, it'll be a huge problem in the future. Tuoba Hongye sighed. How could I not know? It's just that. AI. The few presidents looked at each other. Seeing him like this, there really was a huge secret. AI. Tuoba Hongye sighed again. Since it's already like this, it'll be a huge problem in the future. I'm afraid we won't be able to pass this time. Family head, this Fair Eastern City. Tuoba Han never paid attention to Fair Eastern City before and didn't know that this city was related to the family's fate. Tuoba family head, now that the situation is so critical, I'm afraid you have to say it even if you don't want to. Fan Yuan Long said. Yue, are you sure that's the aura of the Ghost Clan? Tuoba Hongye asked. I can be sure. Not only can I be sure that this matter is related to the Ghost Clan, I also know what's going on inside. Sima Yue said. You know. What's the situation inside? Sima Yue thought for a while and took out a piece of sparkling jade stone. Then, she inserted her divine sense into it and let Shimin Feng inject some spirit power into it. The jade stone emitted a ray of light and slowly formed a few images in the ray of light. One was an empty Fair Eastern City, another was those people walking through the image in a daze, and another was the huge pit outside the city, and those people who were being controlled were digging mechanically in the pit. The three images disappeared in a flash, but the people present could still see it clearly. For the past few months, everyone didn't know anything about the situation inside Fair Eastern City. They didn't expect it to become like this. Although they didn't know what method she used, but it was definitely not easy to obtain this information. No wonder she was injured so badly before. AI, since it's the Ghost Clan, then I have to say it even if I don't want to. Tuoba Hongye sighed and said what he knew about Fair Eastern City. Chapter 1268. Tuoba Hongye slowly told them what he knew. Everyone was stunned. Tens of thousands of years ago, the Tuoba family discovered a space that was connected to the Ghost Realm. If that space was broken, the people of the Ghost Realm would come from there and harm the people on the mainland. At that time, Fair Eastern City had not been formed yet. It was still a rather desolate place. When they discovered this space, the Tuoba family immediately gathered some experts and sealed this place. Later on, in order to protect this place, a city was formed here, which was the current Fair Eastern City. At that time, in order to not cause panic, not many people knew about this except for those who were sealed. With the passage of time, those people at that time had all died. Only the Tuoba clan had passed this down as a clan secret. At the same time, they had set down an ancestral rule to take good care of Fair Eastern City. Therefore, when such a situation occurred in Fair Eastern City, they also thought about it from time to time. However, because they could not sense the aura of the Ghost Clan, they were not so anxious. Now that they heard what Sima Yue said and saw the scene that she showed everyone, they knew that this matter was indeed related to the Ghost Clan. They did not dare to continue hiding it. According to what you said, Fair Eastern City has a passage to the Ghost Realm. Everyone's expression turned ugly. If it was really a passage to the Ghost Realm, once it was opened, wouldn't the Ghost Realm and the human realm be completely connected? The Ghost Clan was much more sinister and powerful than the humans. Once the two realms were completely connected, the consequences would be unimaginable. In that case, those people should be digging that tunnel. But why are they digging it up bit by bit? Xiaohong asked. Because the seal cannot be placed on a single space, it is placed on the land above it. The seal made the soil here hard, so it can't be broken with spiritual power. It can only be dug out bit by bit like this. Tuoba Hongya explained. In other words, the Ghost Clan can't do anything to this seal. Only humans can destroy it. That's why they control the people of Fair Eastern City and made them dig out the sealed place. He Chendong said with certainty. That should be the case, Shui Zhonglin said solemnly. Hearing this news, everyone's mood became even heavier. This result was much more serious than they had imagined. Yue, I'm more curious. Others would be controlled after entering. How did you find out about this? Fan Yuanlong asked. Could it be that you can enter without being controlled? I don't have that ability. Sima Yue felt that Fan Yuanlong did not have the demeanor of a guild leader at all, so she did not speak to him in a polite tone. Then how did you find out about this? Of course I'll use my secret technique. Sima Yue said, I don't think I need to report this to President Fan. These words were merciless, but Fan Yuanlong also asked her with a questioning tone, so it was normal for her to be unhappy. Moreover, she had also warned the various unions that there would be an attack, allowing them to avoid a disaster. It was one thing for him to not be grateful to her, but why was he picking on her? Fan Yuanlong's throat tightened when he heard Sima Yue's words. He wanted to flare up, but Fong Ming interrupted him. Since it's a secret technique, it's normal that you can't say it. However, I hope that when we need it in the future, I hope that you can help us. Sima Yue did not expect Fong Ming to speak up for her. She thought that he was dissatisfied with Yao Mei. This guild leader was protective of her, but it seemed that it was quite good. She smiled and said, Heartbreak Valley is also a part of this continent. If we are needed, we will naturally not shirk our duty. Good. Yue is indeed, as old Xia said. You are a straightforward girl. Fong Ming said. Then if there's anything in the future, please help us. Definitely. Sima Yue also said politely. Fan Yuanlong saw that Fong Ming had said so. If he said anything else, it would be too degrading, so he could only keep quiet. I have a question, Shui Zhonglin said. What? How are these people controlled? Shui Zhonglin looked around at everyone. If this is really the reason, then we know the purpose of controlling them. Now we have to find out how they control people and solve the problem from there. Otherwise, it's useless to know the reason. That's right, Xiang Yang agreed. Although we know the reason, if we don't get rid of the black fog, we won't know the reason why these people are being controlled. It's useless. We can only watch. Yue, since you could discover this, then do you know the reason? Tuoba Han asked. I roughly know the reason why they are being controlled. As for how to solve it, I have no idea. Sima Yue said. You know the reason why they are being controlled? Tell us quickly. On the way in, I heard the sound of a flute. Sima Yue said. Flute? Yes. Sima Yue nodded affirmatively. When the flute sounded, my consciousness felt very uncomfortable. Later in the city, I heard the flute again. After that, I saw new people coming in. So I guess that they were being controlled by the flute. The Ghost Clan has done a lot of research on the human soul. It's normal for them to have some spirit weapon to control the human soul. Xiaochang Tian said seriously. You only heard the flute? Did you see anyone? Do you know who is controlling the flute? Tuoba Hongyi asked. Sima Yue shook her head. At that time, other than those people, I didn't see anything. However, I did hear a sound, but it was behind me. Before I could see it, my consciousness was destroyed. So your consciousness was injured the day before yesterday. No wonder your complexion was so bad. Xiao Hong said. If it was a normal injury, she would still be able to talk to others. However, once her consciousness was injured, she would be very tired. No wonder she didn't want to talk that day. Actually, what they didn't know was that Sima Yue drank the soul fluid and recovered a lot of her consciousness. However, she was angered by Yao Mei and purposely didn't tell them. If we only know that it's the flute, then it's not easy. Tuoba Hongyi said. Everyone fell silent. That's right. If they couldn't find the source, then even if they knew how to control it, it would be useless. It seemed like the future was still uncertain if they wanted to solve this problem. Sima Yue didn't mention that she had a mecha that could enter. On this matter, since there were so many seniors, there was no need for them to take the lead. If they really couldn't think of a way, then she would talk about it herself. However, when she thought about Lu Liangkai, she didn't know if she should tell them. Under such circumstances, he was actually able to stay awake. This was something that she needed to think about. This book came from Chapter 1269. In the end, Sima Yue did not tell her about Lu Liangcai's strange behavior. They would discuss it internally when they returned. She didn't say much after that. She had already told them everything she knew. The rest of the discussion was basically just for show. She just listened. The people present were all old men who had lived for hundreds and thousands of years. Using a phrase from her previous life, they had eaten more salt than she had eaten rice. So in her opinion, they should have a way to solve this problem. However, things were not as she thought. They did not have much contact with the Ghost Clan, so they could not think of any useful solution in this situation. Half a day had passed, and they had proposed more than a dozen plans, but all of them had been rejected. By the way, ghosts are afraid of lightning and fire. Yue, aren't you able to attract lightning? Why don't you go and lead the lightning down and strike the black fog? Xiaochang Tian finally thought of a more reliable idea. Sima Yue had already thought about the lightning. It was not that she did not want to, but she really could not do it this time. Her body was now filled with dark-attributed spiritual power, so she was extremely afraid of lightning. How would she dare to draw lightning down? Wasn't that the same as using a lantern in a toilet? Was she looking for death? President, it's not that I want to help, but my health hasn't been good recently. Sima Yue said, President He and Xiao Hong know about this. I can't do anything even if I wanted to. Yes, that's right. Yo Yue's body has some problems. She can't use spiritual energy for the time being. He Qindong said. Sima Yue cooperated and acted as if she wanted to help but couldn't. Shimin Feng and Bai Sheng, who knew the truth, felt that she was really good at acting. That's true. If you lead the lightning down, you'll definitely be struck. Xiaochang Tian said, Your body hasn't recovered yet, so let's just forget about this idea. However, I feel that this method is feasible. Fang Ming said. Old Fang, what did you say? Yu is still injured. Xiaochang Tian said. Don't be so agitated. Fang Ming saw that he was about to yell at him again and said, I'm not saying that we should let her draw the lightning down. I'm saying that using lightning is a feasible method. Using other methods to draw the lightning down? That's right. Fang Ming nodded. Let's find some people with a lightning attribute and see if the lightning attribute is effective against the black fog. We can give it a try, Xiang Yang said. We don't seem to have anyone with a lightning attribute. Tuoba family head, does your family have anyone with a lightning attribute? Fang Ming asked. Yes, Han, or has the lightning attribute. Tuoba Hongya said. Sima Yue did not expect Tuoba Han to have the lightning attribute. She looked at him curiously. Cough, cough. My lightning attribute spiritual energy isn't as powerful as yours. Tuoba Han said softly. Back then, she had struck him so hard that he had no hair left. Sima Yu saw the smile in his eyes and stretched out her hand to touch her cheek. If he hadn't mentioned it, she would have forgotten about it. If it's just one person, I'm afraid it's not enough. Old Xiang, your Spirit Master Guild has the most people. Do you have anyone with the lightning attribute? Fan Yuanlong asked. Of course there are, Xiang Yang said, but none of the people who came with me have any. The Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters were all in the Union. It will probably take a few days for them to arrive. Then send a message for them to come over. We can also see if there are any other Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters. Xiaochang Tian said. Recently, many people have been paying attention to Fair Eastern City. Many people have come from the surrounding cities. I think there should be some Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters among those people. Should we gather them together and deal with that thing together? He Qindong suggested. I agree. Fan Yuancheng said. I think it's feasible too. Shuechang Lin said. However, to avoid causing panic, we should not reveal the real reason. Then we won't announce the reason. Just say that we are recruiting Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters. However, if we do that, I'm afraid we will have to pay a price. What's that little price? As long as we can solve this problem, Spending some things is a small matter. Xiaochang Tian said. Then let's use the Union and Tuoba family's name to recruit Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters from other cities. Tuoba family head, what do you think? My Tuoba family will definitely cooperate fully. Tuoba Hongya said. Then let's get moving. Xiangyang, go and mobilize your union. We will send out a message to recruit the rest. Fong Ming said. Then we will go and arrange it. Sima Yuan naturally didn't need to care about the recruitment. She asked the people in Heartbreak Valley and realized that there weren't any Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters following them. She didn't put her thoughts on this and pulled by Sheng and Shimin Feng back to Memory Restaurant. After returning, Sima Yue called Feng Ji and Feng Kai over and told them that Lu Liang Kai wasn't being controlled. Bai Sheng and the rest were stunned after hearing it. Liang Kai seems to have some secret technique related to the soul. Maybe he used that to escape from being controlled. I see. Sima Yue said, since Liang Kai isn't being controlled, I wonder if we can contact him. Since Liang Kai isn't being controlled, why didn't he come out? Why did he stay there? Feng Kai asked. We don't know about that. Maybe it's to find out more information. Bai Sheng said, since he stayed there himself, then he should have his reasons. Sima Yue said. Sis, do you think that using Thunder Attribute to deal with that thing will work? Shimin Feng asked. Not necessarily. Sima Yue didn't think highly of it. Since that black fog can cover the Ghost Clan's aura, I think it's definitely not an ordinary black fog. If it's just a Thunder Attribute attack, it might not be effective. If it's possible, it's more reliable to use Heaven's Tribulation. Bai Sheng said, but your current situation doesn't allow you to trigger Heaven's Tribulation. Whether it works or not, we'll have to wait for them to try before we know. Sima Yue said, those people won't be in any danger for now. We'll just wait for a few days and see if they've found enough people before we're going to take a look. In the following 10 days, they stayed in Memory Restaurant. Occasionally, they would receive news about how many Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters they found. On this day, Xiaochang Tian sent a message to Sima Yue, saying that the preparations were almost done. If she wanted to take a look, she could go to Tuoba family. With such a good opportunity to take a look, how could she not go? Hence, she kept Fatty Chu and the rest into the Spirit Pagoda, then brought Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng, Feng Ji, and Feng Kai to Tuoba family. When she arrived, the teleportation array was already prepared. With Fong Ming and the rest, there wouldn't be any problems with the teleportation array. There were more than 100 Spirit Masters standing outside the teleportation array. They should be the Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters they found. Chapter 1270. Thunder Attribute Soul Masters were relatively rare among Soul Masters, even rarer than Wind and Ice Attribute Soul Masters. He didn't expect them to find so many in just 10 days. Yu, the formation has already been prepared. We're just waiting for you. Xiaochang Tian said. Sima Yue walked over. Why didn't he inform them earlier? The way these people looked at them was a little suspicious. Fong Ming had already finished setting up the array. When he saw Sima Yue coming over, he said to everyone, we'll go over first. This formation can be used 6 or 7 times. With that, he took the lead to enter the formation. The other presidents, Tuoba Hongye, and the others followed suit. Xiaochang Tian waved at Sima Yue, gesturing for her to come over. Sima Yue brought the people of Heartbreak Valley over. Although those people were dissatisfied, they naturally had no right to speak since the presidents did not say anything. After they went up, the people at the side activated the array, and they quickly disappeared from the array. Come on, the second batch. The organizer at the side waved his hand at the Thunder Spirit Masters, and another group of people stood up. Outside Fair Eastern City, the space tunnel opened, and Sima Yue and the rest came out. It was the same position as last time. Sima Yue truly admired Fong Ming's attainments in array formations. Group after group of people came out of the array. In a short while, more than 100 people had arrived. Since everyone is here, let's begin. Upon receiving the order, the Thunder Spirit Masters all flew into the air and condensed their spirit energy towards the black fog. Then, They formed hand seals and attacked the black fog with all kinds of spirit techniques. For a moment, the sky was filled with dancing lightning. The scene was so grand that Sima Yue gasped in amazement. She looked around and found that there were monarch rank experts here. It seemed that the Union Alliance had spent a lot of effort to find these people. Unfortunately, although the scene was grand, the effect was not good. The Thunder Attribute spiritual techniques didn't even make a single bubble when they entered the black fog, let alone eliminate them. The Spirit Masters attacked twice more, but the result was the same. When a stone was thrown into the water, it would make a sound. Their spiritual techniques did not react at all. The expressions of the various guild leaders darkened. Although this was within their expectations, they had still held onto a certain amount of hope. Now, this completely negated their previous efforts. Seems like this method is useless. Although they didn't want to admit it, the result was like this. The Spirit Masters all flew down. If their abilities were useless against this, then they were useless here. The atmosphere suddenly became a little gloomy. Lightning attribute spiritual energy was useless against this, so they had to find another way. However, they didn't have much experience in dealing with the Ghost Clan. It wasn't easy for them to come up with a plan, but they still hadn't used it yet. Who knew how long it would take to come up with something else? In the tense atmosphere, the moment Sima Yu spoke, everyone's attention immediately shifted to her. Yue, do you have any ideas, Yue? Xiaochang Tian knew that Sima Yue had a lot of ideas. Seeing her speak at this time, she must have some idea. Sima Yue was shocked by their reaction. She scratched her cheeks and said, I wanted to say that maybe the black fog is too strong and doesn't fear Thunder Attribute spiritual energy. But what if we change it to something stronger? Will it work? Something stronger? Are you talking about lightning tribulation? Shui Changlin thought for a while. You're right. Maybe it's because everyone's lightning attribute isn't strong enough. If it's lightning tribulation, it might work. President, why don't you let me try? The monarch rank expert said to Xiang Yang. All right. Xiang Yang nodded. You can become one with the heavens and earth and summon lightning. Let's see if it works. Go and try. The other monarch rank spirit masters, please come with us. The spirit masters nodded and flew into the air. They condensed spiritual energy. This time, they didn't use spiritual energy like last time. Instead, they used the lightning attribute to sense the heavens and earth. Very quickly, the originally clear sky was filled with dark clouds. Everyone stayed far away. Although it wasn't very strong, if they were struck, they would suffer for nothing. The dark clouds became thicker and thicker. Sima Yue felt that it was comparable to a real lightning tribulation. Pia, thunder, and lightning fell from the sky and struck the black fog directly. Maybe it was because she had been struck too many times in the past. Now that she had dark spiritual energy in her body, Sima Yue trembled when she heard the sound. However, although it was powerful, it didn't have any effect on the black fog. After the lightning entered the black fog, it was the same as before. It was silent again. The lightning in the sky struck for half an hour without any effect. Everyone knew that this method had failed. Looks like this won't work. He Qindong said, why don't we try Yoyue's method and summon the lightning tribulation? But she also said that she can't summon the lightning tribulation now. Fan Yuancheng said, I can't, but there are other methods. Sima Yue said, that's right. The few of us old fellows can do it. Why must we put all the pressure on Yue? Xiaochang Tian said, Old Fan, you try first. Shui Changlin said, from what I know, there are some arrays that can summon the lightning tribulation. I'll try. Fang Ming didn't refuse. He flew into the sky and observed for a while. Then he took out an array stone and started to set it up. Sima Yi watched him set up the array without even blinking. His movements were as smooth as flowing water, and she became excited. So powerful, she exclaimed from the bottom of her heart. Of course. If not, how could he become the Mage Guild's guild master? Feng Kai said, when you reach his age, you will be more powerful than him. Bai Sheng said confidently. Sima Yue laughed and didn't say anything else. She focused on watching Fong Ming set up the array. After more than an hour, the array was finally set up. Fong Ming asked everyone to retreat to a safe distance before activating the array. As the array lit up, the sky was once again covered by dark clouds. This time, the dark clouds were thicker than the ones the spirit masters had summoned before. Everyone could clearly feel the power contained within. What array is this? It can actually summon the lightning tribulation? Feng Kai and the rest asked curiously. This is called the lightning tribulation array. Sima Yue said, but this lightning tribulation isn't the real lightning tribulation. Why do you say that? Because the cloud spirit didn't come. Sima Yue said, a lightning tribulation without the cloud spirit can't be considered a lightning tribulation. Cloud spirit? Xiaochang Tian came over. What's that? The cloud spirit is the core of the lightning tribulation. It controls the lightning tribulation. Now that it's not here, it means that this array didn't summon the real lightning tribulation. I think this won't be useful. Chapter 1271. When the others heard Sima Yue's words, they did not take it to heart. Romance starter, what would a little girl like her know? The power contained in the dark clouds made their hearts palpitate. It was many times more powerful than the lightning that the few monarch-level experts had attracted. How would it be useless? Besides, what was a cloud spirit? No one had heard of it before. Just because she said it was inside the lightning tribulation, it was inside the lightning tribulation. Although she had experienced a few more lightning tribulations than everyone else, she couldn't fool everyone in this way. Sima Yue knew what they were thinking when she saw their eyes, but she was not in the mood to argue with them. Stupidity comes from ignorance. There was no need for her to be entangled with these people. She raised her head and looked at the dark clouds. She knew that they were almost done accumulating power. She reckoned that the lightning was about to strike. Let's take a look. I hope it's useful. Xiaochang Tian said. If that didn't work, they would have to think of other ways. No matter what, he had to take down the black fog. In the process of waiting, the others were also discussing spiritedly, their expectations high. I'll definitely succeed this time. That's right, this is the thunder tribulation, not an ordinary lightning. See, it will definitely be useful. There won't be any problems this time. Under everyone's anticipation, the lightning finally fell. However, it was similar to before. There was no reaction after it fell. In the beginning, the tribulation lightning didn't have much energy. Those people said, that's right, let's wait and see. Sima Yue and the others were also waiting. To be honest, although she knew the result, she still hoped that it would work. Everyone waited for a while, wanted to see if it was as those people said, that things would get better later on. But in the end, it didn't have any effect. Although the last few times had some effect, but to the entire fair eastern city that was wrapped together, this effect was not even a drop in the bucket. This result caused everyone present to feel dejected. It still didn't work? President, why don't you try concocting some high-grade pills to attract the pill tribulation? Sima Yue suggested. If this array formation is useless, will the pill tribulation caused by refining pills be of any use? Everyone had this question in their hearts, including Xiaochang Tian and the others. I'm not sure, but we'll know after we try. Sima Yue said. All right then. Today, I'll let you witness how a Tier 10 medicinal pill is refined. Xiaochang Tian took out the pill furnace and ingredients, and let Sima Yue look at them by his side. The others retreated, and after checking the ingredients, he began to refine. It was Sima Yue's first time seeing someone concoct a Tier 10 pill, and it was also her first time seeing Xiaochang Tian concoct pills. Hence, she observed every step very carefully experiencing his techniques. Generally, alchemists didn't like others to watch them refine dawn. Except for those competitions, they would usually hide in their rooms and refine by themselves. Therefore, it was rare to have the opportunity to watch someone better than them refine dawn. 1st to 3rd grade pills were elementary, 4th to 6th grade pills were intermediate, 7th to 9th grade pills were advanced, and 10th to 12th grade pills were grandmaster level pills. There was an extremely difficult gap between the 9th rank and the 10th rank. Once it was crossed, it would be a qualitative leap. A tier 10 pill was enough to attract a pill tribulation, so they could only wait for Xia Chong Tian to finish refining. Although Xia Chong Tian looked unreliable normally, without Gao Jihong's restraint, it was as if he was in the sky. However, even so, he was still very solemn when he was refining pills. That solemn expression made him look completely different from his usual self. Indeed, a man who was serious about his work was the most handsome. Sima Yu sighed in her heart during the break. They refined from day to night, and after 7 to 8 hours, this batch of tier 10 pills was finally completed. When the pills were condensed, dark clouds slowly gathered in the sky, attracting a lightning tribulation. Sima Yue retreated to the side when the clouds were about to condense, and then watched as Xia Chong Tian threw the pills into the black fog. The pill tribulation found the traces of the pills and accurately struck them. When the pills landed in the black fog, the pill tribulation struck the black fog as well. After 3 consecutive bolts of tribulation, lightning struck down. The dark clouds quickly dispersed. This speed was as if they were rushing. Look, there's a big hole in the black fog. Xiao Hong pointed at the place where the pill tribulation struck. Everyone looked over and saw that a piece of the black fog was missing, as if the black mushroom was bitten by someone. Previously, the lightning that Fong Ming attracted with the array was not useless. It was just that after a part of the black fog was scattered, it immediately recovered. But this time it was not. That hole seemed to be fixed, and the black fog did not dare to spread there. Looks like this method is still useful, Xue Chonglin said. They had tried so many methods, but this was the only one that was effective. But this method is too impractical. Although they found a method, Xiang Yang's expression was not optimistic. If it's normal conditions, it's still okay. But to refine a tier 10 pill and above, it can guarantee that there will be a pill tribulation every time. This is not a cabbage that can be found on the streets, nor is it a random herb that can be found on the ground. To refine a tier 10 pill and above is easier said than done. Not to mention that it can only create a small hole every time. Xiang Yang's words silenced the people who were cheering just now. He was right. This method was indeed only suitable for a small area. For a large area like Fair Eastern City, this method was not reliable at all. But at least it proves one point. Only Heaven Dao's lightning tribulation is effective. Normal lightning can't do anything. He Qin Dong said, since we know this, we found a direction to work towards. That's right. We'll think of a way to attract the lightning tribulation later. It's better than being clueless before. Although this method was a little difficult. Sima Yue stood aside and did not speak. Anyway, she had dark spirit energy in her body now. She did not dare to attract the tribulation casually. If they really couldn't find a way, she would try again. Shimin Feng seemed to know what she was thinking. He pulled her hand and said, "Don't stand out. If you attract the tribulation, it will strike you too. The energy in your body is restrained by the tribulation. After a lightning tribulation, you don't even know if you can survive." Sima Yue looked at Shimin Feng's worried eyes and smiled. She patted his hand and said, "Don't worry. I'm not an idiot. I won't stand out casually. I'll leave this to the seniors to think of a way." Shimin Feng let go of her after hearing her words. Everyone stayed here for 2 days. More than 100 people. They couldn't think of a way and could only return temporarily. But because of these people, the news of Fair Eastern City spread like wildfire. In a moment, many powerhouses rushed here. Chapter 1272. The Six Rivers City had never been so lively. Bai Ta said that the local residents had never seen so many forces come to this place before, so they didn't dare to casually go out, fearing that they would accidentally offend some big shot if they went out. However, the inns in Six Rivers City were all filled with people. Many people who came here had no place to stay, so they could only temporarily expropriate the houses of the residents and use them as inns. Fortunately, most people did not care about the external conditions. As long as it was clean, they could make do with it. Sima Yu and the others were in the backyard of Memory Restaurant. When they heard Bai Ta describe the situation outside, they all widened their eyes. Wasn't this too exaggerated? Fortunately, they didn't have to squeeze outside. They could still comfortably discuss this matter in Memory Restaurant. If there were no people from Heartbreak Valley in Fair Eastern City, they might not care. However, with Lu Liangkai and the rest inside, they had no choice but to care. Actually, if Sima Yuyua's body was in good condition, this problem wouldn't be a problem at all. However, she could only use dark spiritual energy now and couldn't casually trigger the lightning tribulation. This became a huge problem. The forces from the central regions had gathered. Even the forces from the inner regions had come. Some wanted to contribute, while others wanted to watch the show. Yu, something's wrong. Fatty Chu shouted as he came in from outside. Bei Gongtang and the others followed behind him. Their expressions didn't look too good. It seemed like what they heard wasn't a small matter. What's wrong? What happened? Why are you so flustered? Yue, something happened in Fair Eastern City again. Haven't you been fine these past 2 days? What happened? Shimin Feng asked. It's about what happened today. It was said that some forces did not believe the situation over there. This morning, they brought people over and tried all kinds of methods to disperse the black fog. But not long after, a flute sound came from the dark room. After hearing the flute sound, those people went into the dark fog. Now, we have lost contact with everyone. The other forces are rushing over there. Are you sure he went in after hearing the sound of the flute? Bai Xing asked. That's what I heard. Bei Gongtang said. It seems like there were people who went together. At that time, they were rather far away, so they weren't controlled. After those people saw those people disappear, they quickly contacted this side, and the news spread. The Union Alliance has already told these people, but don't go near that place. They really turned a deaf ear to these words. Feng Kai said faintly. He wasn't worried about those people. If they didn't listen to other people's advice, wouldn't they be courting death? They didn't have much sympathy for people who were seeking death. How did those people react? Sima Yue asked. The forces involved in the incident have already rushed over. The Union Alliance has also sent people over. However, we don't know who exactly went. Ouyang Fei said, so many days have passed, and so many people have come, but none of them have come up with a workable solution. How could this method be so easy to think of? Sima Yulin said, wanting to trigger the heavenly tribulation is not something that just anyone can do. People in this continent may be able to trigger lightning, but if it's a tribulation cloud, there shouldn't be many people who can trigger it. The people who came here are probably very few. That's right, Wei Ziqi agreed. Currently, there's only one way to trigger the heavenly tribulation by refining pills. However, how many people can do this? Also, based on the amount of materials needed, this method isn't practical. Naturally, no one would think of this. Ha ha! Bai Sheng and the others laughed out loud. He looked at Wei Ziqi and the others and said, how is it? These kids are much more powerful than the ones we've seen before. Feng Ji nodded. Actually, they're much better than the ones we've met before. With time, they will definitely become the best in the continent. Fatty Chu and the others were embarrassed. Bai Sheng and the others had always been their idols. Now that they heard their idols praising them, they even blushed. Ha ha! Feng Kai and the others laughed out loud. Look at them. They're embarrassed. Sima Yue smiled. They're very thin-skinned. Do you think they're as thick-skinned as you? Hee hee. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head and laughed as well. Then should we go and take a look at this matter? Shimin Feng asked. Let's go and take a look. After all, it's a matter involving so many people. Even if it's just a show, it'll be good. Sima Yue said. Then let's go and prepare. Wait, let me ask President and the others first. If they want to go, we can still hitch a ride. Sima Yue said and took out the Mother Stone to contact Xia Changtian. Xia Changtian and Feng Ming were just about to go there. When they heard that they wanted to go together, they let her go. Following Xia Changtian and the others to the outskirts of Fair Eastern City, it was different from the previous 2 times. This time, it was filled with people. Some people were crying in the crowd. Some were comforting them at the side. so were watching coldly from the side. Needless to say, those crying people were definitely crying because they had family members inside. But they couldn't go in themselves, so they could only cry outside. Seeing those people crying so miserably, most people would sympathize with them. But Xiaochang Tian and the others only had a cold face. They had already told them not to act rashly before they thought of a concrete plan. But they turned a deaf ear to those words and came here to make such a big commotion. Now, not only were they gone, they even alerted the enemy. The most annoying thing was that this matter was blamed on the Guild Alliance. They came over and said that they came because they responded to the Guild's call and wanted the Guild Alliance to save them. Xiaochang Tian and Yummy Guy cursed in their hearts. They came here on their own and didn't blame the Guild Alliance. Also, they couldn't shirk the responsibility in case the other powers were dissatisfied and left. All right, what are you crying for? Will they come back if you cry? Xiaochang Tian said impatiently. President Xia, you have to help us. They've already been in there for a day. Could it be that we already warned you not to act rashly? Look now. Don't worry, they won't die for now. Then what do we do now? How can we save them? If we had a way, would we still be stopped here? Sima Yue stood at the side and listened to Xiaochang Tian's scolding. She felt movement in the spirit pagoda. With a thought, Little Black appeared in her embrace. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked twice at Sima Yue when he came out, attracting the attention of the surrounding people. Chapter 1273. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked at the black fog and wanted to break free, but was stopped by Sima Yue. Yue, it's been a while since I last saw you. Why is there a dog by your side? Is it also your contract beast? Some people who saw Little Black for the first time asked. Yes. Sima Yue saw that everyone was looking over. Little Hay was still struggling, so she slapped its head. Woof, woof, woof. Little Hay looked at Sima Yue, feeling wronged. Yue, is this really a contracted beast? Why does it feel like a spirit beast without intelligence? After Xiaochang Tian was done scolding, he turned around and saw Little Black in Sima Yue's arms. He felt that this fellow and Sima Yue didn't match at all. Oh, it's my contracted beast. It doesn't seem very reliable. Sima Yue smiled. Fan Yuanlong walked over and said, Yue, could it be that your other spirit beasts are too powerful, so you contracted with this one? Woof, woof, woof. Blackie bared its teeth at Fan Yuanlong, wanted to bite him. Fan Yuanlong looked at the coldness in its eyes and shuddered subconsciously. Little Blackie, they're just joking with you. Sima Yue quickly smoothed its fur, afraid that it would bite them. Just ask Little Roar and the others how good Little Black's teeth were. When he was in the Spirit Pagoda, he had once bitten in or in half. Later on, Little Roar and the others experimented with it and let it bite the things in the pagoda. Back then, even Sima Yue and the others were helpless against the soil of the Dark Spirit Stone was bitten open by it. One had to know that even if Fatty Chu wanted to use that soil now, he would have to use a spirit weapon to grind it down again and again before he could even get a little bit of it off. It would also take a long time. He didn't expect it to be done in one bite. Therefore, Sima Yue was most afraid that it would bite someone. Once it opened its mouth, biting off an arm would be as easy as eating a cucumber. Not only Fan Yuanlong, but the others were also frightened by the look in Little Black's eyes. A chill ran down their spines. Why was it that when she looked at him, it was as if she saw fear from hell? This little guy's eyes are really scary. I think it's definitely not a fish in a pond. It seems that we've all misjudged it. Shui Zhonglin suppressed the strange feeling in his heart. He glanced at Blackie, but didn't dare to look at its eyes again. Cough, cough. You use contracted beasts. Which one of them is ordinary? They're all very powerful. Xiaochang Tian said. Xiao Hong patted her chest. She wasn't as strong as those people, so when she saw Blackie's gaze, she almost couldn't breathe. Sima Yue did not expect Little Hay to behave like this. She felt a little embarrassed and said while hugging Little Hay, I'll take it for a walk around. Then, without waiting for the others to speak, he ran away with Little Black in his arms. Before the others could even call her name, she had already run far away, leaving the crowd in awe of her speed. Sima Yue hugged Little Black and walked around the crowd. When they reached a place where there was no one around, she released Little Black. Woof woof. Little Black was finally released. It looked at Sima Yue with eyes full of grievance. Sima Yue wanted to scold it. How could it show such a scary gaze in front of so many people? But when she saw its gaze, she couldn't say anything. You, she patted its head. You're not allowed to show such a gaze in front of others, okay? Little Black saw Sima Yue's expression just now and knew that she was angry. Seeing that she didn't scold it, it quickly nodded. Why were you so agitated just now? Sima Yue squatted down and put Little Black on the ground. She grabbed its two legs and played with it. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked twice at Sima Yue, then at the black fog. You want to go in? Sima Yue couldn't communicate with it directly, so she could only guess what it meant. No, it's very dangerous inside. Little Black shook its head and barked twice at the black fog, but Sima Yue still didn't understand what it meant. Little Black saw that Sima Yue didn't understand it, so it retracted its claws from her hands and ran towards the black fog. Woof, woof, woof. Seeing the black fog, Little Hay ran happily and rushed into the black fog in an instant. Little Black, Sima Yue stood up and rushed to the edge of the black fog, but she didn't dare to go in. She called twice, but Little Black didn't respond. She was a little anxious. This fellow had always been less sensitive to her than the others. Even if something happened, she wouldn't know. Just when she was worried, Little Black's voice came from inside. There was no shock, fear, or injury in its voice. It sounded very happy. Woof, woof, woof. Sima Yue heard the familiar voice, and the stone in her heart finally fell. Little Black, come out quickly. She called. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked twice, but it didn't come out. Just when Sima Yue was about to lose her patience, she suddenly realized that the black fog in front of her was decreasing. It slowly formed a hole, just like a funnel. And after the black fog decreased, it didn't fill up the hole. She was stunned and couldn't believe what she was seeing. It was the first time she was so shocked that she couldn't speak. As the black fog decreased, she finally saw Little Black and knew the cause of this phenomenon. Kula, Kula. Little Black opened its mouth. Every time it breathed, the black fog would enter its mouth. The next time it breathed, the black fog would decrease a little. The black fog was all eaten by it. Sima Yue looked at Little Black in shock and re-evaluated it. Although it was sealed by the heavenly Tao and couldn't use its abilities, it still had some powerful abilities. For example, its teeth and the ability to swallow the black fog. There was probably no one else in the world who could do this. Little Black seemed to like the black fog a lot. Within a few minutes, it ate a hole that was 1 kilometer wide. Soon, the commotion attracted the attention of others. Look, the black fog is decreasing. Yeah, it seems like it. Did someone find a solution? Shui Zhonglin looked over in surprise. Let's go take a look. A group of excited people ran in that direction. They wanted to see who found the solution. Sima Yue heard the commotion and knew that the situation here must have attracted the attention of others. Sensing the people approaching quickly, she looked at Little Black, who was happily eating. She subconsciously ran over and carried Little Black into the spirit pagoda. Not long after they disappeared, a group of people rushed over. They were confused when they saw the black fog and the empty space. Where was the person who found the solution? Chapter 1274. Xiaochang Tian and the others looked around and indeed didn't find anything special. In the end, they had no choice but to give up and leave. Sima Yue was observing the situation outside from the spirit pagoda. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw them leave. Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohei barked at Sima Yue in dissatisfaction. Why did she bring it in? It hadn't eaten enough yet. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at it. You're so scary right from the start. I'm not prepared at all. What they find out? Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked twice and ran over to pull on her skirt. It looked like it wanted her to take it out to continue eating. Sima Yue squatted down and patted her head. She played with her feet and comforted her. "Don't worry. I'll take you out when the situation outside is settled." Little Black quieted down and lay on the ground, motionless. Sima Yue stared at it, still shocked by the fact that it could consume the black fog. Only the heavenly tribulation could deal with the black fog, but it was able to deal with it so easily. Furthermore, it was eating so happily. If they had known about this earlier, why would they have been troubled for so long? However, when she thought about Little Black's identity, she was worried again. If this matter was known by others, would they investigate its identity? She thought for a long time and decided not to tell anyone about this. She planned to secretly take Little Black to eat all the black fog. After making sure that there was no one outside, she carried Little Black out. In order to prevent such a thing from happening again, she immediately released the scarlet bees after she came out this time. She got them to stand guard at various places and inform her immediately if anyone came near. With Chi Feng's help, every time someone approached, they would be able to return to the Spirit Pagoda in advance, avoiding the danger of being discovered. As a result, for the next 2 days, Sima Yu played cat and mouse with everyone. You chase and I hide. The others wanted to know who was doing this, but she was always able to avoid them in advance, which made them very depressed. Finally, after a few chases, Shui Zhonglin told Sima Yue what was on her mind. Since he's avoiding everyone like this, it means that he doesn't want us to know who he is. Let's not look for him anymore. I don't want him to be unhappy and stop helping us. Yu, do you want to go back first? Xia Chong Tian said, once the black fog is settled, we will definitely face the ghost clan inside. At that time, there will definitely be a certain amount of danger. You haven't recovered your strength yet, so it's better for you to avoid it first. Thousand Resonance, who was disguised as Sima Yue, smiled and mimicked her tone. No need. There are so many of you, and I'll be at the back. I should be fine. Besides, if something really happens, I still have my contracted beast. Xiaochang Tian thought about Sima Yue's contracted beasts. All of them were very strong. If something really happened, not mentioning other things, just bringing her away shouldn't be a problem. He nodded and said to Bai Sheng and the rest, when the time comes, don't rush to the front. Stay behind and protect her. Bai Sheng nodded. There were only a few of them in Heartbreak Valley. They would definitely not rush to the front. 1,000 miles outside Fair Eastern City was shrouded in black fog, but Little Black only used 2 days to absorb all the black fog. In these 2 days, Sima Yue had been following Little Black. When she decided to settle the black fog with Little Black, she let Thousand Resonance disguise as her and return to everyone's line of sight. This way, no one would link her to the person who settled the black fog. At this moment, they were already standing on the other side of Fair Eastern City. This was the last part of the black fog. Hearing the news from the Scarlet Bees, those people were slowly approaching Fair Eastern City, wanting to take down Fair Eastern City in one go. Because they saw the scene that Sima Yue showed them, Xiaochang Tian and the rest split into two. One group was led by Fan Yuan Long and the rest into Fair Eastern City. The other group was led by Xiaochang Tian and Tuoba Hongyi. They went around the city and rushed towards the big hole that Sima Yue saw before. Hula hula! Little Black swallowed the last bit of black fog and walked towards Sima Yue in satisfaction. It even burped twice in the middle of the road. Not sure if it was an illusion, Sima Yue felt that after Little Black swallowed so much black fog, its eyes seemed to be brighter, and its eyes seemed to be more human, as if it gained some intelligence in these 2 days. Master! Little Black came in front of Sima Yue, called her master, and fell down. Sima Yue was shocked and quickly ran over. She only heaved a sigh of relief when she realized that it was just sleeping. This fellow, you scared me. She carried Little Black and kept it in Spirit Pagoda. Seems like it wasn't an illusion just now. Little Black absorbed so much black fog and really grew a lot. It can even call me master now. She contacted Thousand Resonance. Thousand Resonance told her that they were rushing towards the big hole outside the city with Xiaochang Tian's men. Sima Yue asked them to leave the group and go find them herself. She would find an opportunity to switch back. Thousand Resonance told Shimin Feng and the rest what she said. Everyone slowed down and left the group, then dodged to the side. Sima Yue found them. Thousand resonance transformed into her appearance before she returned to the group. Yue, how's the situation? Did you meet the Ghost Clan? Nope. The Ghost Clan didn't seem to realize that I had already gotten rid of its black fog. Sima Yue said doubtfully. Where's Little Black? It's full. It went back to digest it. Just at this moment, everyone suddenly heard a flute sound. Without the effect of the black fog, the effect of the flute sound wasn't as fast. But everyone still felt uncomfortable. Fatty Chu and the rest were the weakest. When they heard the flute sound, they felt an unbearable headache. They had the urge to pry open their heads. Bai Sheng, Feng Ji, and the rest were much stronger. When they heard the flute sound, they weren't in as much pain as Fatty Chu and the rest. But they still felt uncomfortable in their heads. Sima Yue practiced the art of soul training. Her spirit and mental strength were strong, so the flute sound didn't have much effect on her. Seeing that they were in so much pain, she hurriedly set up a barrier, enveloping everyone inside. With the barrier, everyone felt much more relaxed. Although their heads still felt like they were being pricked by needles, it was much better than before. Thank you, Yue. They're fighting over there. Sima Yue looked towards the direction of the big hole and said worriedly. The Ghost Clan didn't make any movements for the past 2 days. But at this moment, there was a flute sound. Something was wrong. Chapter 1275. They stood inside the barrier and looked at the spiritual light coming from the giant pit with worry in their hearts. Seems like there's some trouble over there. Bai Xing said, if the Ghost Clan controls those people to fight against us, we will have some scruples when making a move. Shimin Feng said, once our hands are tied, we will be at a disadvantage. Everyone started to worry, but they didn't dare to leave the barrier. I hope nothing happens to Liang Kai and the others. Feng Ji was very worried about the people in the valley. You guys wait here. I'll go over there and take a look. Sima Yue was also worried and told them, we'll go with you. Bai Sheng said, now that they're fighting, the sound of the flute is much softer. As long as Bai Gong and the others stay here, we can still hold them off. Sima Yue thought for a while and nodded. Ziki, you guys wait here. Don't leave the barrier. Although Wei Ziki and the others really wanted to go together, they didn't have enough power, so they had no choice but to obediently wait here. Even if they couldn't help, they couldn't drag everyone down. When Sima Yue, Shimin Feng, and Old Bai left the enchantment, the sound of the flute became much softer. They quickly flew in the direction of the huge crater, wanting to see what was going on there. Boom! Before they could even get close, they were blocked by waves of spiritual techniques. The situation over there is too fierce. Boss, Valley Lord, you guys should just wait here. Feng Kai said. Sima Yue knew that they were doing it for her own good. But thinking about the current situation, she shook her head and said, I'd better go with you. Don't worry, I have a spirit artifact to protect my body, so I won't get hurt that easily. Valley Lord? Bai Sheng and the rest turned their gaze towards Shimin Feng, wanting to see if he had any opinions. Shimin Feng sighed. Let's go. She won't change her decision. Let's leave her here. She will go by herself in a while. Since he said so, Bai Sheng and the rest didn't insist any further. The few of them slowly approached the huge pit. Someone's coming. Sima Yue took a closer look and realized that the person running towards her was none other than Liang Kai. Liang Kai. Bai Sheng saw a spirit technique coming towards Liang Kai's back and quickly went forward to disperse the spirit technique. He then turned around and asked, Are you all right? Old Bai, why are you guys here? Liang Kai saw Bai Sheng and the rest and said, It's very dangerous here. Run quickly. What's wrong? Feng Kai looked at Liang Kai's anxious face. It didn't seem like he was afraid of the battle. That tunnel has been dug open. The Ghost Clan's people are about to come. Liang Kai shouted. What? Everyone was shocked, and they were almost stunned. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord, the ghost race has been waiting for a long time. Once the passage is opened, they will definitely rush over. At that time, everyone here will become their food. Sima Yuyue's heart sank. She finally understood why the Ghost Clan had not made any movements for the past 2 days. It turned out that they were waiting. As long as they dug out the last bit, even if the black fog disappeared, it would not affect them because they had achieved their goal. Even though Bai Sheng and the rest were experienced and knowledgeable. But when they heard that the passage was opened, they were also shocked. Feng Er, bring everyone and leave first, Sima Yue said. Shimin Feng grabbed onto her and said, What are you going to do? I have to go over and take a look. Sima Yue said, President and the rest are still there. I can't leave them alone. Have you thought of the consequences if they find out about your spirit attribute? Shimin Feng growled. Don't worry, I won't do anything rash. Sima Yue patted his hand, but this time she didn't let him believe her. No, I can't let you go over. Shimin Feng said worriedly. Every time you say you won't do anything rash, but every time you do something that makes people tremble in fear. This time the Ghost Clan has appeared, I won't let you go. Silly Feng Er, no matter how bad I am, I still have my own protection when I meet the Ghost Clan. Sima Yue saw that Shimin Feng was acting silly when he was anxious. I have Crimson Flame's flame. If I really meet the Ghost Clan, I just released the flame. They can't do anything to me. Shimin Feng was stunned. How could he forget about this? All right, you guys go back first. Bring Bei Gong and the rest, and leave this place. Sima Yue said. But Shimin Feng was still worried. Roar, Yaha, Ghost Chi filled the sky, mixed with all kinds of weird cries. Came from a huge pit. Needless to say, the last passage between the ghost realm and the human realm had been opened. Those who could pass through this passage were not ordinary people. Once they arrived at the human realm, they were all excited, grabbing the people around them and sucking their blood. The more powerful ones even sucked out their souls and ate them. In just a few minutes, many humans were killed. You guys go quickly. Sima Yue took out a temporary array and stuffed it into Shimin Feng's hands. Bring Bei Gong and the rest, and leave this place quickly. At the same time, she summoned Little Birdie, telling him that she would be fine. Shimin Feng knew that the situation was urgent, took over the array, and said, You have to be safe. Don't worry, we haven't taken our revenge. How could I let anything happen to me? Sima Yue said, You guys go quickly. Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng, and the rest brought Lu Liangkai back, found Fatty Chu and the rest, and brought them out of the array, but they didn't use the array to leave immediately. Instead, they retreated to a place far, far away, wanting to see what would happen here. At the same time, they were worried about Sima Yue. Sima Yue ran towards the huge pit, but countless people blocked the way in front. The sky was filled with clamoring ghosts, almost covering the entire sky. Those who were controlled had not been rescued. All of them were willing to sacrifice their lives. When others sucked their blood, they were like wooden men, not reacting. Those ghosts scattered in all directions. Those who were controlled, as well as those who came today, were all persecuted by the ghosts. And in that huge pit, the Ghost Clan was still coming over endlessly. The scene was chaotic. Sima Yue covered Little Birdie's body. Those ghosts all hid far away when they saw her. No one dared to go near her. She circled around and finally found Xia Chong Tian, He Chun Dong, and the rest. Although they weren't controlled by the ghosts, each of them was surrounded by a few ghosts. If they failed, they would definitely be eaten by the ghosts. Xiao Hong followed beside He Chun Dong. Although she had her father's help, but she still couldn't win against the ghosts. Her defense was broken. She was also grabbed by a ghost, about to bite her neck. Chapter 1276. Hong He Chun Dong saw Xiao Hong being lifted into the air and watched as the ghost's lips pressed against her neck. Ni Xiao Hong. Xiao Chong Tian was closer to Xiao Hong and wanted to save her, but the spirit energy he sent out was blocked by the ghost race at the side. Hong He Chun Dong was surrounded by the Ghost Clan. His eyes were bloodshot, and his face was distorted due to nervousness, anger, and anxiety. Little Birdie, go! Sima Yoyue's familiar voice was heard. Then, A fiery red figure flew up and engulfed the ghost who was holding Xiao Hong, turning her into ashes instantly. Xiao Hong had just felt the aura of death, but in the blink of an eye, she was pulled back from the brink of death by the scorching power. Because she was too frightened, she even forgot to use her spiritual power to let herself fly. She fell quickly and only reacted when she was about to hit the ground, but it was too late. Pooh! The soft leaves under her body were still elastic, allowing her to survive and not fall to her death. She stared blankly at the leaves below her, and then the black blood dripping on the leaves stunned her. Before she could react, a series of unforeseen events happened. Little Hong Hong likes my branches and leaves so much. Hee, I can give you a piece. Xiao Hong looked to the side and saw Sima Yue covering her mouth as she laughed. Only then did she realize that Sima Yue had saved her. Other than that, Little Seven and Little Dream also came out. They stood on both sides of Sima Yue, protecting her in the middle. Thank you, Yue. She came down from the leaf. If it wasn't for her, she would have been killed by the ghost clan. Sima Yue nodded at her, and then looked up at the little bird that was burning happily. Little birdie left Sima Yue's body. She had no choice but to let them protect her. His strength was still too low. She sighed in her heart. If she was stronger, she wouldn't need their protection. When He Chendong and the others saw that Sima Yue had saved Xiao Hong, they looked at her gratefully and went back to the battle. Little birdie, don't play by yourself. Go and save President and the others. Sima Yue instructed Little birdie. Little birdie was playing happily in the sky. When it heard Sima Yue's words, it reluctantly flew to Xia Chong Tian's side and burned all the ghosts to death. Xia Chong Tian and the others couldn't react for a moment. Just a moment ago, they were still being held back by those ghost clansmen. Now, they were suddenly relaxed. This flame is... Shui Zhonglin looked at Little birdie and was so excited that he couldn't speak. I'm not mistaken, am I? Fong Ming was also extremely excited. He looked at Little birdie, somewhat unable to believe his own eyes. Even Fan Yuanlong was stunned. They were a group of old men who had lived for thousands of years and stood at the top of the world. Naturally, the vermilion bird flame recognized it at a glance. That's right, that's it, Xia Chong Tian said. Only it has such a scorching temperature, able to burn away all the impurities. It can't be wrong. He Chendong and the others were all people who played with fire and were especially sensitive to flames. The moment Little birdie flew past them, they already had an answer in their hearts. I never thought that in our lifetime we would be able to see the nirvana flame. Fong Ming sighed. The way he looked at Sima Yue changed again and again. What an enigmatic girl. If she has this flame, does that mean that among her contracted beasts? Fan Yuanlong looked at Sima Yue with a different gaze. Even the legendary vermilion bird was her contracted beast. Just where did she come from? Don't say that she came from the lower continents. They wouldn't believe that. However, even if they didn't believe it, it didn't change the fact that Sima Yue found crimson flame in a land of exile in the lower continents. With Little birdie's help, the pressure on the humans lessened a lot. However, they still couldn't stop the huge number of ghost clansmen. The number of ghost clansmen on the other side of the passage seemed to be increasing. They weren't frightened by the situation here at all. Instead, they kept coming. The more humans died, the more ghost clansmen there were. Not good. Those ghost clansmen are leaving this place and heading to the nearby village. Tuoba Hong, Yi looked at the direction where the ghost clansmen left and shouted. Cultivators had to protect the ordinary people. Now that the ghost clansmen were heading over, those ordinary people would definitely die. Little birdie, stop them. Sima Yue called out to Little birdie. Little birdie had a connection with Crimson Flame and understood what she meant by them. It flapped its wings and raised its head to let out a long cry. Then, its body suddenly enlarged and turned into a thin line. It formed a circle in the air and trapped all the ghost clansmen inside. Then, the line of fire turned into a wall of fire. As far as the eye could see, the entire fair eastern city seemed to be in a sea of fire. Even though the ghost clansmen didn't know what kind of flame Little birdie was, The scorching temperature made them feel a sense of fear towards it. They subconsciously kept their distance and didn't dare to take the risk to pass through. Even though this action stopped the Ghost Clansmen from running out, but in this case, it couldn't kill the Ghost Clansmen anymore. The humans in the fire circle were under even more pressure. In the huge pit, the Ghost Clansmen were still coming out. Since they couldn't go outside, the Ghost Clansmen inside increased. No, we can't hold on anymore. Facing the increasing number of Ghost Clansmen, everyone gradually lost hope. Were they really going to be killed by the Ghost Clansmen here today? Even Sima Yoyue's side was showing signs of not being able to hold on. They had to open more flowers to ensure that the Ghost Clansmen couldn't get close to Sima Yoyue. As for Little Seven and Little Dream, they were already held back by the Ghost Clansmen. Yu, there are more and more Ghost Clansmen. We can't hold on much longer. Every flower would consume some energy. After a long time, she was starting to feel tired. Sima Yue looked at the Ghost Clansmen that almost filled the entire sky. Then, she looked at the decreasing number of humans, and her heart sank. Yue, Ni Xiaohong, you guys still have the Cannibal King to protect you. Hurry and retreat. I'm afraid we can't hold on here. Xiaochang Tian said. Then what about you guys, President? Xiaohong asked. We are people of this continent. Now that the Ghost Clansmen are invading, even if we die, we have to guard this passage. Xiaochang Tian ran forward after speaking and was instantly surrounded by a group of Ghost Clansmen. Sima Yue was a little surprised by Xiaochang Tian's reaction. She thought that with his personality, he wouldn't care about the world. She didn't expect him to make such a decision. She looked at the other presidents. They could have retreated. Even though there were many Ghost Clansmen, to them, it wasn't impossible to leave. However, none of them left. They were still fighting with their last bit of strength. She steeled her heart and said, Looks like we can only use that method. Chapter 1277. Sima Yoyue's mind spun quickly. She thought of all the ways she could think of, but after much thought, she could only ask Cloud's spirit for help. Using his own dark spiritual energy, the Ghost Clan's dark spiritual energy was thousands of times smoother than hers. Furthermore, she hadn't had the time to properly practice the underworld skills that MOU had taught her. They were still at the beginner stage. Using the 100 Ghost banner, that was only possible if the people from the Ghost Clan were in spirit form. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to take them in. Moreover, once this 100 Ghost banner was taken out, it would probably set off another storm. She had wanted to use the power of faith, but Wu Lingyu had told her not to use it when he was not around. Moreover, her body was now filled with the power of darkness. Once she came into contact with the power of faith, she would be blown to death before the power could leave her body. If he didn't use dark spiritual energy, he wouldn't be able to use faith power. After thinking about it, he could only ask Cloud's spirit for help. Since that little fellow was so familiar with him, he should be able to go easy on him, right? Taking a step back, even if the Cloud spirit didn't go easy on him, the power of lightning would have a better chance than the power of faith. After all, one was a situation of certain death, while the other still had the hope of working hard. Xiaohong, I'll get Hua Hua to send you guys out. Once you leave the firewall, get it? Xiaohong watched as Sima Yue took out a few clothes and put them on as she spoke. She then took out a spiritual weapon and hung it on her body. She was stunned and asked, What are you doing? I don't have time to explain it to you now. Remember to stay away from here. Hua Hua, do it. When Hua Hua heard Sima Yue's words, it wrapped its leaves around Xiaohong and threw her towards the wall of fire. Seeing the wall of fire, Xiaohong closed her eyes subconsciously. She had seen little birdie burn those ghosts. Every time it burned them, they were all turned into ashes. If he was touched by the flames, wouldn't he turn into ashes in an instant? However, the feeling that she expected did not come. She mobilized her spiritual energy to maintain her balance, only to find that she was already outside. I'm not dead. She looked at her intact body and was a little surprised. Hearing the commotion behind him, he turned around to take a look. Large holes had appeared on the wall of fire, and those people were crawling out from the holes. Yue, what is she doing? She looked at the wall of fire worriedly. After Sima Yu covered herself with lightning protection spirit tools, she took a deep breath and said, "Little Purple, you have to help me. If I die, you won't have a host anymore." The top-grade purple heavenly thunder rolled its eyes in the tower pool. Now that it was sealed, it could not use its previous strength at all. How could it help her? Your body is clearly filled with darkness-type energy, yet you still want to trigger the heavenly tribulation. Even if you want to die, this is not the way to go, right? Extreme purple heavenly lightning advised. There's nothing we can do about it. Sima Yu said, "We can't just watch as the ghost clansmen wander outside and kill the commoners, right? How righteous of you. Why didn't I see it before?" Extreme purple heavenly lightning snorted. "I didn't see it before either," Sima Yue said narcissistically. "But for someone as good as me, it's not strange." Extreme purple heavenly lightning rolled its eyes in the tower pool. "Do your parents know that you're so narcissistic?" Humph. Sima Yue stopped joking around with him. "Later on, try your best to absorb as much energy as you can. Otherwise, I really might not be able to endure it." "What do you plan to do?" "Endure it." After Sima Yue finished speaking, she retracted her darkness-type energy, planning to use her body to endure the heavenly tribulation. At this time, it was better for her not to have darkness-type energy. It would increase the power of the heavenly tribulation. Those who were close to the Huahua were thrown out by her. Before they could react, they were already outside. What's going on? Those people did not understand why they were outside. Look, someone pointed at the rapidly gathering dark clouds in the sky and shouted, "Heavenly tribulation. Why is there a heavenly tribulation? F*CK. Let's not care about where the heavenly tribulation is coming from. Let's hurry and leave this place. Otherwise, if the heavenly tribulation locked onto us, it would think that we are the ones undergoing the heavenly tribulation. That would be terrible." Yes. With the heavenly tribulation, these ghosts are nothing to be afraid of. Let's hurry and leave this place. If there are any fishes that slip through the net, we can take care of them. That's right. Hence, those who went outside quickly left the area of the heavenly tribulation. Those who were still inside the firewall panicked. With so many people together, if they were all considered to be the ones undergoing the heavenly tribulation, then how powerful would the heavenly tribulation be? But with the firewall outside, they could not leave even if they wanted to. Those ghosts panicked when they saw the heavenly tribulation. One damn flame was not enough. Now there was a heavenly tribulation. Could they still survive? Those who were controlled also regained their consciousness. They did not expect to see such a scene when they woke up. "Everyone, don't panic," Sima Yue shouted. "Humans can pass through the flame. Nothing will happen. Hurry and leave this place." Sima Yue tried her best to spread her words as far as possible. But after all, this place was so big. Without spirit energy, she could not spread her words. But luckily, the people around heard it. Knowing that the firewall would buy them a place to leave, they quickly flew over. Those people came to the side of the firewall. Feeling the heat of the flames, many of them hesitated. The temperature of the flames was so high. They had seen its power with their own eyes. If they ran into it, would they be burned to death? Forget it, let's try. Xiaochang Tian and the rest did not care about that. They used their spirit energy to protect themselves and ran over. The moment they passed through the flames, Little Birdie opened up a hole for them to pass through safely. "It's okay. Everyone come out quickly." Those who passed through shouted from the outside. The people inside all rushed out. Those ghosts saw that even the humans could pass through. Some brainless people also tried. They followed closely behind a human, wanting to sneak through. But the moment they came into contact with the flames, they were burned to death. Now, everyone was even more certain that the flames would not burn the humans. It would only burn the ghosts. Seeing the dark clouds in the sky getting thicker and thicker, the humans hurriedly ran out. Only the ghosts were left to watch. No, we have to think of a way to get rid of the source. The ghosts were not idiots. They knew that the lightning tribulation was attracted by someone. As long as they killed that person, the lightning tribulation would naturally disappear. Hence, the ghosts looked towards the center. They saw that everyone else was running out. Only Sima Yue was standing at the same spot. A young lady without spirit energy? Could she be the one who attracted the lightning tribulation? She has the aura of lightning on her. She must have attracted it. Go and kill her. Although they were suspicious, they did not have the time to think about it. A group of ghosts rushed towards her. Reading background default settings: classic light, blue classic light, gray classic, green classic bright, yellow dark blue, ocean, autumn rich green classic, elegant red powder, aristocratic family red talk, thick sea vast sky, broken heart, past snow white world, gray world, font color default settings, white red green blue brown, font size default settings, small medium large speed 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0 mouse scrolling explanation 1 to 10. 1 is the slowest, 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1278. Read 336. With spiritual energy, she no longer felt dizzy in the teleportation array. After circling around the city, she seemed to be startled by something and hurriedly ran outside. When the Wu family members who had rushed to the Armament Master Guild found out that they had fled in panic, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Wu Gaoyan sneered and said, "You know that we are guarding here and don't dare to use the teleportation array. I want to see where you can run to once you leave the city." "Young master," they went out from the east gate. "Let's go after them. Today we must kill Bai Sheng and those few people, then trample on Heartbreak Valley." Wu Gaoyan sneered. "Young master, should we call the people from the Sage Pavilion? We can send someone to inform them, but we don't have to wait for them. We can go by ourselves. Other than that, Bai Sheng, the rest are just small fries." Wu Gaoyan said, "Inform my cousin and let him know about this matter. As for whether he will come or not, that will depend on him." "Yes, young master." One person went to inform the Sage Pavilion, while Wu Gaoyan brought the rest of the people to chase towards the east of the city. Outside the east city gate, there was an endless stretch of mountains. "You want to use the terrain to escape? Dream on." Wu Gaoyan sneered and chased after him with his men. Following the markings left behind by their clansmen, they found Sima Yue and the rest in less than half a day. "Young master." The person who was chasing after Sima Yue and the rest stopped midway. "Where are those people?" "It's not far ahead." When they got there, they stopped. "Why don't you go up and catch them?" Wu Gaoyan asked with a sullen face. They had sent more than 10 people. Could it be that they still couldn't deal with those kids? And now, there were only 3 people left. What the hell was going on? "Young master, although they are not strong, they have powerful contracted beasts. Sima Yue's man-eating Flower King alone killed 15 of our men." "Useless thing." Wu Gaoyan kicked the man. "Follow me. Watch how we kill them." Wu Gaoyan led his men and sprinted over. He did not even think about why Sima Yue and the rest had stopped running. If they had thought a little more, they wouldn't have been wiped out so quickly. Sima Yue and the others were waiting at the top of the mountain. The corpses that were torn apart by Little Dream and the others were placed in the valley. When Wu Gaoyan arrived with his men, he saw the corpses in the valley and was instantly enraged. Without any explanation, he charged towards the mountain where Sima Yue and the others were staying. Bai Sheng brought Sima Yue and the rest of them flew into the sky. Wu Gaoyan's attack landed on the ground where they were standing and sliced off the top of the mountain. The moment the mountain peak collapsed, the valley suddenly lit up with the light of a formation, enveloping all the members of the Wu clan. "Trap array." Wu Gaoyan and the others immediately recognized him. "Young master, this is the dragon trapping array," someone called out. "Dragon trapping array? Isn't this the 100 changing doors formation?" Everyone's expression changed when they heard that it was the dragon trapping array. The dragon trapping array was famous in the inner region because there was once a half-step to revered martial artist who went to the 100 changing doors to create trouble. He was trapped by the 100 changing doors for tens of years. In the end, they were the ones who released him. From then on, no one dared to find trouble with them. I heard that this Sima Yue used this formation to trap a group of monarch-ranked experts 20 years ago. She used a lightning tribulation to kill all of them. The man who recognized the dragon-trapping array said with a pale face. Sima Yue saw that they were all trapped and did not need Bai Sheng to hold on to her. She stopped in midair. Not bad. You can even recognize the dragon-trapping array. She looked at Wu Gaoyan at the same level. Her expression was calm, but her squinted eyes were filled with killing intent. How do you know the 100 Changing Doors dragon-trapping array? Wu Gaoyan's expression was ugly. If she was related to the 100 Changing Doors, then they would have more scruples in killing her. Of course I learned it, Sima Yue said. Not only did I learn this formation, I even made some improvements to it. So now, this is not only a trapping array, it's also a killing array. After she finished speaking, she attacked the array. It was clearly a casual attack, but the people in the array felt 10 times the attack. Arrogant brat, don't be so savage. Wu Gaoyan did not think that he would be caught in her array in a moment of carelessness. He was furious, but had no choice but to divert some of his attention to defend against their attacks. Yue, the people from the Sage Pavilion did not come. They must be behind. We have to settle this quickly. Wei Ziqi said. Then let's all attack together. Don't think that Sima Yue's strength was only at the divine rank. With so many people attacking at the same time, in addition to the amplification of the array, the people inside were caught unprepared, especially since the people inside could not attack at all. They were now like meat on the chopping board, being cut by Yue and the rest. How long could this kind of one-sided abuse last? Especially when Fatty Chu threw in thunderbolt bombs. The power of this explosion was not something that the people inside could handle. So when the people from the Sage Pavilion rushed over, the 100 people from the Wu clan had already been completely annihilated. Brother, Wu Gaofei saw that Wu Gaoyan was already dead and his eyes turned red. He glared hatefully at Sima Yue and the rest, roaring, I'm going to kill you all, and we'll have to see if you have the ability. Sima Yue laughed coldly. She took out the small door of Little Black Lotus Realm and opened it. Thousands of people who were at least monarch rank and above came out. The faces of the people from the Sage Pavilion changed. The other party had so many people, and those people had a strong, killing intent. They did not need to think to know that there were people who lived on the edge of knife. And they only had 100 people. Compared to thousands of people, they were not a match at all. Brother Fei, the other party has too many people. Let's go back first. We'll find a chance to take revenge in the future, Nalan Lan's master said, although Wu Gaofei was unwilling. But facing such a sudden change in the situation, he had no choice but to give up on revenge. He had to hold on to his life first. Revenge needed to be done with his life. Retreat, he ordered, unwilling to give up. Since you've come, then stay. Why are you still leaving? Sima Yue waved her hand, and the people from Bloodfiend City quickly surrounded them. You think you can stop us like this? Wu Gaofei snorted coldly. He tried to form a seal to open a space passage, but there was no reaction from a space. I can't open a space passage, Wu Gaofei said. Let me try. Nalan Lan's master tried, but the result was the same. The two of them looked at each other, and their hearts sank. Continue. Why aren't you continuing? Fatty Chu said while grinning. The space here has been isolated by Yue using an array. If you want to open a space passage, it's impossible. Chapter 1279. Sima Yu's flashy appearance caused everyone to be unable to digest it for a while. One by one, they stared at her, who was on Crimson Flame's back, as well as the group of flashy beasts beside her. Not only were these people stunned, even those from the ghost race were stunned. Who was this person? How could there be so many spirit beasts? They seemed to have heard someone talking about the divine bird, the vermilion bird. Was it the bird that was emitting flames? No wonder the flames from before were so powerful. It turned out that they belonged to the divine bird. Sima Yue looked at everyone who was shocked by her and did not relax. There were simply too many people from the Ghost Clan. She had to remain vigilant, at least until the tribulation clouds descended. Just as she thought, in the face of death, these ghosts were only stunned for a moment before they came back to their senses. It doesn't matter how powerful her contracted beast is. If we don't kill her, we will all die here today. That's right. For the sake of a glimmer of hope, this man must die. Thus, groups of Dugue clansmen attacked Sima Yue. The beastmen surrounded Sima Yue so that no one could get close to Sima Yue. However, there were simply too many of them, and the encirclement was slowly shrinking. Sima Yue looked up at the tribulation clouds in the sky. Perhaps it was because the extreme purple heavenly thunder was not strong enough. The accumulation of the lightning tribulation this time was especially slow. At this rate, the lightning tribulation might not descend even if all the beast's spiritual energy were exhausted. She was still counting on her beast to help her withstand 2 lightning tribulations. How could she let them exhaust their spiritual power now? All of you go back and rest. We can't even kill all of these ghosts, so you should conserve your spiritual energy. Qi Yin, bring me to the surface. Sima Yue ordered the beasts. Yu, are you planning to use your domain? Little Seven sensed Sima Yue's thoughts and asked. Yes, what we need now is time, not to fight them head-on. Just wait for the lightning tribulation to come. Sima Yue said. Qi Yin understood what she meant. He brought her to the ground and stood beside her in his human form. Sima Yue kept all the other beasts into her spirit pagoda to rest. At the same time, she expanded her domain to protect herself. With the pills that little spirit had given them, they would be able to quickly recover their spiritual power during this period of time. But after the others went in, Qi Yin didn't move beside her. Why don't you go in? She looked at him speechlessly. This fellow's influence was much higher than his. Unless he was willing, he wouldn't be able to move him. I'll accompany you, Qi Yin said. That little bit of spiritual energy is not of much use to me. Sima Yue understood that his spiritual energy was recovering very slowly, and the amount that he recovered was not of much use to him. Since he insisted on accompanying her outside, then so be it. The people outside were a little worried when they saw her put away her contracted beasts. They didn't expect her to be safe and sound. I didn't expect her to release her domain. Tang Yun was stunned for 2 seconds before reacting. How could she have a domain at such a young age? Vice Pavilion Master Tang, don't fool us. Tang Yun glanced at that person and said lightly, many people know that Sima Yue comprehended her domain in the immortal realm. Why, you didn't know? Those old fellows were stunned. They were all called out by their families because of the Ghost Clan. They were usually in closed-door cultivation, so why would they care about others? They didn't expect so many things to happen in the continent. Although they felt that it was impossible, Sima Yue had indeed used her spirit realm to block the Ghost Clansmen outside. How can a young lady like her comprehend a domain? Immortal realm. It must be the effect of the immortal realm. It's really good inside the immortal realm. Let's talk about these things later. Let's see how to solve this first. Let's solve this first. This matter is not easy to solve. Patriarch, since those people are inside, why don't they return to the ghost realm? A woman asked the question that was on everyone's mind. You can't just come and go as you please when you want to, Lin Feng said with a smile. What do you mean? Look at how easy it is for them to come and go. Do you think they can come and go as they wish? Isn't it so? Of course not. The Patriarch said, this passage has restrictions. It's easy to come and go, but hard to come and go. They came in groups, which means that it's easy to come from there. In other words, it's not easy to go back from here. That's right. Actually, it's not that there's no way to go back. It's just that with the heavenly tribulation here, they have to spend more time to deal with it. Tang Yin said, isn't the heavenly tribulation not here yet? Why do they have to deal with it? This is the difference between the human clan and the ghost clan. Tang Yin seemed to be in a good mood and didn't mind broadening the knowledge of the younger generation. Although we feel fear when we see the heavenly tribulation, our bodies don't feel fear. Of course, we won't talk about those who are timid. However, the ghost clan is different from us. When their bodies face the heavenly tribulation, they will unconsciously feel fear. So don't look at how they are clamoring to kill Sima Yue. In fact, most of their strength is used to resist the natural reaction of their bodies. When everyone heard what he said, they had a look of realization. I didn't think that the Ghost Clan was so powerful before, but they are terrified in front of the heavenly tribulation. Of course, to the Ghost Clan, the heavenly tribulation is considered a punishment from the heavens. Even ordinary people are afraid of the heavenly tribulation, not to mention the Ghost Clan, who is its nemesis. I hope that Yue can hold on until the heavenly tribulation comes. Tang Yin shook his head. What we hope for is not only for her to hold on until the heavenly tribulation comes, but also for her to hold on until the end. Otherwise, the Ghost Clan might not all be struck to death. We're all going through the heavenly tribulation, but they won't fight to the death. Even if we're all going through the heavenly tribulation, there's a hierarchy. If the main person is dead, if the Ghost Clan is stronger, they will naturally be able to hold on. Tang Yun said, however, this isn't the first thing we need to consider. Then what is it? Tang Yun looked at Tuoba Hongye and said, Tuoba family head, these Ghost Clan members being killed is only temporary. If this passage isn't sealed, I'm afraid there will be a next time. When that time comes, she might not be here anymore. That's right. If the passage wasn't sealed, the Ghost Clan might come again. Even if the problem was solved this time, there would be a next time, and the time after that. Many people shifted their gaze to Tuoba Hongye. This place was under his Tuoba family's control. There shouldn't be no way, right? There is a way, but when the time comes, I will need the help of all the supremacies. Tuoba Hongye said, since there's a way, that's good. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They were not afraid of putting in effort, but they were afraid that you would say that you didn't know either. The heavenly tribulation is coming. Someone said this, and everyone looked up to the sky. Indeed, the heavenly tribulation cloud was ready to strike. Chapter 1280. When Sima Yu looked at the dark clouds above her head, she actually had the urge to cry. It wasn't that she wanted to be in the limelight. If it wasn't for the fact that she was worried that the ghosts would harm the commoners, she wouldn't have made such a decision. But looking at the form of this lightning tribulation, it had far exceeded his expectations. She didn't even know how many times she could withstand it. No, she had to work harder. Cloud Spirit. Oh, Cloud Spirit, you must go easy on him. If I die, you won't have any more fruit wine to drink. She put her hands to her mouth and shouted at the dark clouds in the sky. Although they were so far away and she didn't have the ability, she believed that Cloud Spirit could definitely hear her. The people outside were speechless at her words. How could she still say such things at a time like this? If this was useful, then everyone would shout like this when they transcended their tribulations in the future. What was there to be afraid of? Only those who knew her relationship with the Cloud Spirit knew how much of a deterrent her words were to the Cloud Spirit. The Cloud Spirit had not seen Sima Yue for many years. It had finished its wine and was wondering why it had not seen her for so long. It did not expect her to call it over. However, as soon as he came over, he heard her shouting at him. He was still angry when he realized that something was wrong with her. Why was his spiritual energy gone? No wonder he had to go easy on her. If he didn't go easy on her, she would probably die after a few rounds. Furthermore, as soon as it arrived, it discovered that there were many ghosts here. It also felt that they had killed a lot of people after coming here, so it was only right to punish them. After the arrival of the Cloud Spirit, the speed at which the dark clouds condensed had increased significantly. Everyone could feel that the pressure had also increased by a lot. Some of the ghost race could no longer stand. As long as the tribulation lightning struck them, they would be turned into ashes. However, Cloud Spirit was already here. They had already been locked down. Now, they couldn't escape even if they wanted to. This is the first time I've seen the might of the lightning tribulation. I guess this is the only time in my life. No wonder she was able to use this lightning tribulation to kill so many monarch-level experts a few decades ago. With this power, even if we were to go, we might not be able to survive. The group of old men sighed. After this incident, they no longer knew how to evaluate Sima Yue. Sometimes, he felt that she was a little arrogant. For example, before entering the Immortal Land, she said that she would protect everyone in Heartbreak Valley. That arrogance was something that even the forces in the inner region did not dare to do. Not to mention that most of the people in Heartbreak Valley were from Bloodfiend City. She could have ignored this matter. With the vermilion bird flame in her hand, no ghost would dare to do anything to her. But at the moment of crisis, she still stepped forward bravely. As a little girl, it's not easy. Fong Ming sighed. Indeed. Sigh. Her behavior makes us all blush with shame. He Chendong said, to have so many contracted beasts, as expected of a beast tamer. Fan Yuan Long said. Suddenly, he thought of something and a shocked expression appeared on his face, attracting the attention of the surrounding people. What's wrong? Xiang Yang asked. I suddenly remembered a saying in the world of beast tamers. Fan Yuan Long thought of the saying, and his body trembled involuntarily. Yeah, you old man's reaction today is so strange. What saying made you have such a big reaction? Fan Yuan Long glanced at Xiang Yang and said, in the world of beast tamers, if you can contract a divine bird or something, you'll be titled as an emperor beast tamer. You said she's an emperor beast tamer? She can tame such powerful spirit beasts? Fan Yuan Long shook his head. It's not that she can tame spirit beasts above sacred beasts. As long as she can contract an ancient sacred beast, she's an emperor beast tamer, because their mental strength has already reached that level. Not only did she contract a divine bird, she also contracted so many sacred beasts. Her mental strength is too terrifying. Pa! The loud sound of the tribulation thunder that fell from the sky interrupted everyone's conversation. Seeing the lightning that was thicker than a water bucket strike down, many people were scared silly. Oh my God, if this lightning were to hit me, I'd probably be dead. This seems to be striking at the Ghost Clan. It's good that it's not striking at Sima Yue. The Sima family members patted their chests and said. Suddenly, the surrounding flames disappeared. Everyone focused their eyes and saw that little birdie had shrunk in an instant and returned to Qi Yan's side. Qi Yan placed the flames on Sima Yue's body and said, at least you can block it a little. Sima Yue did not refuse. She had already seen the power of the tribulation thunder. If it struck her body, she might not be able to block it. Moreover, the tribulation thunder would only get stronger and stronger. She was a little worried that she might not be able to block it. Pa! A bolt of tribulation thunder fell from the top of her head. Qi Yan flew up and blocked the tribulation thunder above her, blocking it for her. Sima Yue looked at the lightning just now, and her heart relaxed a lot. Based on her experience of being struck a few hundred times, the tribulation thunder that the cloud spirit struck her was much weaker. If it was always like this, then she would not have to worry about not being able to pass. At least she would not die. At most, she would only lose a few layers of skin. Ah, don't. The screams of the ghost clansmen were constantly transmitted to everyone's ears. Seeing them being struck to death one by one, the people outside had goosebumps all over their bodies. This scene was too frightening. They did not dare to look anymore. Qi Yan had blocked 20 to 30 lightning strikes for Sima Yue. His body was more seriously injured, and he was recalled by Sima Yue. The beasts in the Spirit Pagoda all requested to come out, but they were all rejected by Sima Yue. You guys have only been struck a few times. It's too dangerous to come out now. I'll try first. If I can't handle it, I'll call for you guys. Pa! This time, the lightning struck her directly. The familiar numbness instantly spread throughout her body. However, the spiritual weapon on her body blocked a lot of the electric current, so she was not in much pain. However, it was not so easy after that. When the spiritual weapons on her body were all broken, her body absorbed more and more lightning. Top-grade purple lightning was restrained by the laws of heaven. Its ability to absorb lightning was less than 1% of what it used to be. Therefore, Sima Yue had to endure more than 90% more pain than before. She smelled the aroma of her body being burned by the lightning again. After a few more strikes, she really could not take it anymore. She had to take turns to call out her beasts. One took 2, another took 3, and they blocked a lot for her. However, there were too many ghosts. The duration of the lightning tribulation was too long. Even she, the one who attracted the lightning, was not spared. Her beasts were all badly struck, and she recalled them to recuperate. Pa! The power of the lightning entered her body. She felt a piercing pain all over her body. Her limbs and bones did not seem to belong to her anymore. She wailed in her heart, "Little Purple, if you continue like this, I will really become a barbecued human. Give me more strength." Pa, seeing that the lightning tribulation was about to strike again, she reckoned that she would die directly if it came again. At this moment, she felt a warm power coming from her abdomen. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.